It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Devindra Hardawar is here. Now in Engadget, John C. Dvorak and Rob Reid from Year Zero. We're going to talk about Apple's onerous contracts, the Amazon tube, Larry Page's big mission, breach fatigue, and more. This Week in Tech is up next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Twit This Week in Tech, episode 483, recorded November 9th, 2014. Google Burger. This Week in Tech is brought to you by Shutterstock.com. With over 43 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 20% off image subscription packages on your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use the offer code TWIT1114. And by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. And by Stamps.com. Start using your time more effectively with Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, go to Stamps.com, click the microphone, and enter TWIT. That's Stamps.com, offer code TWIT. And by ZipRecruiter.com. ZipRecruiter makes hiring faster, easier, and cheaper. Post your job to 50-plus job boards with one click. Try ZipRecruiter with a free 4-day trial now at ZipRecruiter.com/twit. That's ZipRecruiter.com/twit. It's time for Twit This Week in Tech, the show where we talk about the week's tech news. I guess it's kind of self-evident. Joining us right now, brand new Engadget senior editor, Devindra Hardawar. Great to have you, Devindra. Devindra,
thanks for having me.
You were at VentureBeat until moments ago.
Yeah. I just left and just started Engadget this week and couldn't be more excited. Yeah.
Do you go? I know you're in Brooklyn, but do you go into the big AOL building and participate in group exercises?
For sure. Yeah, it's a great building. And my first day there, Jake Gyllenhaal was just there hanging out with Dan Gilroy, the director of his new movie. It's like that is such a strange office where celebrities just come in and hang out. It's
kind of like here, because next week, tomorrow, Damon Wayans is going to be hanging out over there.
I love him.
Homie
He's
the
great.
Clown.
What's he going to do?
That's John C. Dvorak, by the way.
Hello.
Good to see you, John. Also with us, Rob Reid, founder of Rhapsody and novelist. Year Zero, a very funny book, a novel about copyright. And yes, it's funny. It's about aliens.
Imagine it.
He did. You've seen the TED Talk, great TED Talk on copyright math.
Thank you.
In which sorghum plays a large part.
I think I said sorghum more times from the TED stage than anybody in TED history.
You own sorghum.
Pretty much,
for TED. All right, now that I've introduced the panel.
I have some sorghum molasses.
At the time, you didn't know what sorghum was.
I feigned not knowing.
Oh, you actually did?
It was for the comedic effect of not appearing to know what sorghum was, but in reality, I knew what it was. I looked it up on Google before I did my talk.
It's
a grain.
Related to sugar?
Because
molasses comes
You can
from
make
sugar.
molasses from it, yes.
Yeah.
It's not it's considered an inferior molasses.
I'm thinking Adam Curry did not have $10 on us starting talking about sorghum.
No, definitely.
You could have won that bet.
Yeah. Sorghum whiskey should be avoided at all costs.
Have you had that?
No, I haven't.
Well, how did you know? It might be delicious.
I just have heard things about sorghum whiskey.
Anyway, Damon will be on.
I didn't even know. Well, I guess you could. Why not?
So, Amazon Echo. They're selling a tube that listens to you at all times.
I didn't get to plug anything when you introduced me.
Would you? Usually we reserve those for later. Would you like
Just a No Agenda show. People should go to it and listen to today's show.
I said the word Adam. That should count.
No, Adam doesn't count.
Okay.
NoAgendaShow.com. That's
NoAgendaShow.com. That's it. No. Are you planning on walking out? Is that why you wanted your plug?
You want me to walk out? I could
drop
do that.
the microphone and go.
I don't have a microphone to drop.
This is the Amazon Echo. First of all, I just want to point out, as a dad, in this promotional video, this dad is so stupid. Throughout.
You'll see.
It's a sitcom dad.
It's a sitcom dad. In fact, I think he is a sitcom actor. Let's watch. He's opening the door.
You'll see.
It's an Amazon box there. He's so excited.
Is it for me?
It's for everyone.
It's
called
for everyone.
Amazon Echo.
How's it going?
I'm just finishing up right now.
Is it on?
Oh, it's always on.
Can it hear me right now?
Nope.
Wait a minute. Let's just mention that it can hear you right now, otherwise it'd be useless.
Right, it's always on.
It's always on, and it's always listening.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, just
so creepy.
Yeah, totally creepy.
It
He's right.
is so creepy.
Who needs it?
Alexa.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I can play music, answer questions.
Wait a minute. I'm going to play the alternate version of this.
Oh, good. Already?
Yeah. Jeez.
May I introduce you to the
When
Bizarro?
it first arrived from Amazon, I didn't know what it was.
Same dad,
What is it?
You'll see.
same box.
Is it
And-
for me?
It's still
everyone.
always listening.
It's called Amazon Echo.
How's it going?
I'm just finishing up right now.
It's going to be a bad
Is it
word
on?
here. Hold on.
Oh, it's always on.
Can it hear me right now?
Nope. It only hears you when you use the wake word we chose. Alexa.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I can play music, answer questions, get the news and weather, create to-do lists, and much more.
Awesome.
Wait a minute. This isn't the parody.
Alexa.
Apparently not.
Because actually,
Nice call.
Actually, it's much funnier in the parody, right? I'm thinking. Let me just look up the Amazon. You'll just edit that out, right? The non-funny. Yeah, no. All right. Amazon Echo parody. Thank you.
They really opened themselves up to parody in this one too.
They basically what the parodists did is they didn't modify the video in any way. They merely changed Echo's answer. Yeah, I was just playing the wrong video on
Is it
the.
for me?
It's for everyone. It's called Amazon Echo.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I'm a talking cylinder. I exist only for companionship and utility. My existence is utterly meaningless.
Awesome. Alexa, play rock music.
Rock music.
Wait, I want to try. Alexa, what time is it?
It's time for you to calm the F down.
It uses far-field technology so it can hear you from anywhere in the room.
No, it's not
Echo is
listening.
pretty neat because it knows all sorts of things. All you have to do is ask.
Alexa, how tall is Mount Everest?
Mount Everest is like probably the biggest mountain. I heard a guy died trying to climb it.
Plus, Echo's really good at keeping track of things like shopping and to-do lists.
Paper. Alexa, add wrapping paper to the shopping list.
I've added rap albums to your shopping list.
Alexa, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
How is it possible a woman your age doesn't know that? Look it up.
Anyway, watch the parody because it's absolutely hysterical, and it's frankly kind of right on. I mean, this is a product that is kind of naturally parodized. What is Amazon up to with the Echo? This is not so different from what a smartphone does, but in some ways, you said it, Rob, it's more creepy. I don't know why.
7 microphones on the roof of this thing.
I have a theory.
All right.
So it's just going to be listening to everything you say all the time, looking for keywords that it can serve ads around. Yeah,
It says,
that
though-
microphone you're using sucks. You get a whole bunch of ads for microphones.
That'd actually be a good use for it.
Well, a lot of people have been complained about the Fire Phone sort of railroading people.
I
into
say the same thing with the Fire Phone.
Into
I
the
got-
sort of
I
the
got that-
Amazon funnel, right?
I got that phone that you loaned me. It's horrible. And
You can have it, by the way.
good? Thanks. And what's interesting? There's one good feature.
What's that?
This crazy thing where it looks at anything, it scans.
Firefly.
It goes, yeah, that thing. And it says, "Oh, we've got that for sale."
Yeah.
And that's all it seems to be about because that's the best thing on there.
See, that's what the talking tube is for. It's going to infer what you need from your
what John
conversations.
says,
and you're going to
yeah.
go to your Amazon
And you'll have an offer.
shopping cart, and it'll just be full of all the. Well, you said you wanted paper towels.
Yeah.
It'll be like, yeah,
Well,
I
that
did.
would be good because Amazon recommendations are notoriously horrific. I mean, they basically recommend something you've already bought almost every time.
Yeah.
Right?
Or something that you decided not to buy already.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw you
Or
bought
something just looking
Rob
at the
Reed's
specs
Year
for.
Zero
Yeah, yeah.
novel. Maybe you'd be interested in Rob Reed's novel year
bought
zero.
It 18 times.
I already bought it. Thank
So
you.
if you see one of these things and you're a novelist, for example, and you see someone in someone's house, mention your book a lot.
Excellent idea.
There you go.
Yeah. Guerrilla
So,
marketing.
Here is an interesting thing. First of all, you have to apply. It's invitation only. That's obviously a marketing.
What a
tool, right?
crap. Yeah, crap.
$199, but if you're an Amazon Prime member, $99. And that kind of confirms what you're thinking, John, that it's aimed at just as the Fire Phone was, the most avid Amazon users, the Prime.
So it's
I
aimed
like
at
that
nobody.
feature, by the way, that little Fire Phone.
Well, I don't know, Devindra, I don't know about you, but I'm a Prime member. Aren't you a Prime member?
I'm a Prime member and I really like it, but I think the failure of the Fire Phone was creating this thing that basically was just to keep you in the Amazon ecosystem.
Right.
The Firefly feature is really cool, but it's just an easier way for you to buy stuff on Amazon. That's also a feature their mobile apps have, so it's not like unique just to the Fire Phone. I've kind of lost a lot of faith in Amazon's ability to create great consumer electronics because the Fire Phone was a Me Too device that was priced way too high for what it actually is. Their tablets are fine. They're okay, but they're still kind of bland and boring, and they don't have the full Google experience, so they're not as good as other Android tablets. I think the worst case scenario you guys are bringing up here, that's not how it works right now, but it could eventually, and that's terrifying because I've seen a lot of startups that are working on sort of artificial intelligence technology that could do what you're saying, like listen to what you're saying and kind of infer recommendations and things like that.
I want to disagree with one point. I really do like the Kindle. I think it's a fine
the new
device.
Kindle is awesome.
The Kindle's great.
I like the Paperwhite. That's the one I use. I think
Yeah,
it's
you would like
fantastic.
this new, it's $200, the new Voyage, which is basically kind of like a Paperwhite with no compromises at all. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
You can really read fast.
Well, it's got a
Kindle's like
faster
the one great
processor, so the
thing.
page turns are I mean, they've really done a nice job. Well, I bought Jibo, which is still not available and is exactly the same. So I don't know why I'm creeped out by this. Jibo, the whole idea of Jibo, and it's more expensive, is it sits on your counter and
It's
it
like a
looks at
toothbrush.
you. No, here's Jibo coming up here. Yeah.
Well, isn't this what Microsoft...
Jibo looks at you.
It's
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
It looks like the Pixar.
And it blinks.
It looks like the Pixar light.
Can you turn the audio up a little bit on it?
Throughout their day. He's the world's best cameraman. By intelligently tracking the action around him, he can independently take video.
See, I didn't think it was creepy because it didn't come from Amazon or Microsoft.
Right.
It comes from actually Cynthia Brazil, who is a robotics guru.
It'll be sold to one of them.
He's a hands-free helper. You can talk to him, and he'll talk to you back, so you don't have to skip a beat.
Excuse me, Anne?
Yes, Jibo.
Melissa just sent a reminder that she's picking you up in half an hour to go grocery shopping.
Thanks,
God.
Jibo.
He's an entertainer and educator.
Anyway, I've
And
got
he
this.
initializes conversations?
Apparently, he initiates
Hey, what are you doing? You look
conversations.
depressed.
Hey, Ann. Do you want to know how many tablespoons in a teaspoon, Ann? Ann, you haven't queried me lately.
It's a needy robot.
Where'd you go? There you are.
How much did this thing cost?
Oh, that's creepy.
The target on the kid's
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
And you get a red dot on your forehead. That's what you don't
I
need.
I don't know what's happened to me, but I didn't think this was creepy when I first saw it. And now I really think this is creepy.
What is the price?
I think it was expensive because it's crowdfunded.
He's a platform, so his skills keep expanding.
They've reached their $100,000 goal in 4 hours, $1 million in 7 days. $600.
A piece?
Yeah. So, but
And
you
how
get,
late is it now?
I don't know if it's late yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's late.
It doesn't actually exist. Like
No,
most
no.
crowdfunding campaigns.
It'll
And
never come
Amazon's
out.
exists.
Because when you think
Now-
about it, what it costs to
You're
develop
out
a
$600.
sophisticated electronic
Yeah.
product like that, I mean, it's great that they raised $1 million.
Not even
but
close to what they need.
man, yeah.
And presumably Amazon's been working on this for a long time because the idea of the voice recognition. I mean, look, we've got Siri, we've got Cortana, we've got Google Now, but those companies all worked on those things for years with a large research team and a lot of smart people.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? I mean, Amazon all of a sudden has voice recognition. It had no product related at all.
Yeah.
So in that regard, at least, it's impressive. It is plugged in. It's not battery powered. It does the same thing as your phone, though, does, right? It does say connected to the cloud, so it's always getting smarter. That also
That's not good.
Yeah.
it really does play into this paranoia.
It's terrifying. There's a startup I've been tracking called Ubi that's been developing something like this as well. Just like a thing you plug into a wall socket. It's always listening and always serves as a speaker. Just kind of... I could see it being useful eventually, but if we do all have smartphones near us all the time, it is tough to think of something like this. Like, what would you really use it for?
Isn't this something that Microsoft was supposed to be doing with Kinect?
Yeah, it feels a lot like Kinect.
And you're told that Kinect's in the house on all the time, can see what's in the room and figure, this guy looks like he's got volumes 1, 2, and 3 of this book. Let's push volume 4.
Well, but Kinect, I'll vouch for it. When I sit down, it says, "Hi, Leo." When Michael comes in, he says, "Hi, Michael." When his mother comes in, it says, "Hi, Michael." So, well, she looks a little bit like her son, but it does see you. And in fact, it's always looking, obviously, because it wouldn't recognize you the minute you walk into the room. You can talk to it anytime. You say Xbox, watch TV, and it'll turn on the TV and all of that.
So what's creepier, Amazon having 7 microphones listening to you 24/7, or Microsoft having a video camera watching
listening and watching?
Listening and
you
watching.
You put the two together, you got it made.
Yeah.
Okay, but a couple of things come to mind. First of all, if there's real utility in this, I mean, if it actually is helpful, do you put up with the privacy, Devindra? Do you put up with the invasion?
I think, I've heard all the complaints about the Xbox One's Kinect camera, and I own an Xbox One, and I really enjoy using that camera and the voice commands and everything. So it really is about utility. And the problem with Amazon's Echo is that Amazon, all they do is sell you stuff. You're just creating you're putting another conduit in your house for Amazon to better sell you stuff. And everything else they've tried to do outside of that hasn't been as good.
So the same problem with the Fire Phone will accrue to the Echo, you're saying?
I'd say so. Yeah. And the saddest thing is that this isn't a really portable device. It's something you plug into the wall. So it's not as useful as like Jawbone's wireless speakers or something like that.
It's funny because right up to the point that came out, I wasn't creeped out. And now I'm all of a sudden, because I have a Kinect and I bought the Jibo, and all of a sudden I'm creeped out. Yeah. And I'm trying to analyze what that is.
You should be creeped out on your own.
I'm apparently not.
Why do we have to be here?
You have to creep me out.
Well, kind of as with everything, we're constantly making those trade-off decisions when we decide whether or not to enable cookies on our browser. I mean, every technology consumer does actively, almost on a daily basis, make a judgment of like, this is too creepy, this is not. And I think, if it delivers enormous utility.
That is somewhat of a trade I'm willing to make.
Yeah, if it delivers enormous utility. But I haven't gotten Siri to give me any good advice yet. I don't know why Amazon's going to be necessarily any better than that coming right out of the box. But if that utility comes, and I'm sure at some point it will. Early on we thought pen computers sucked, and they did.
I should point out my watch is always listening. I have an Android Wear watch I can talk to. I say, okay, Google, it'll respond. Yep. My phone, if I say, help me Obi-Wan Kenobi, it'll
there it goes.
It'll respond. So,
what can I do for you? It says.
Yeah,
turn yourself off. Change the language to Russian.
No, but I'll do this. Watch this. Wouldn't that be nice to just solve a lot of your problems, wouldn't it? But I can do this. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Take a selfie, and then we can go like this. Take it. John. Amazon wants to see you. Actually, it takes forever.
It doesn't work.
Well, it does work. It's just
it's hardly.
It's hearing everything we're saying. This stuff does not work in a busy environment or where there's people who like to prank you.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah. But at the same time, I am wearing 2 things at all times that listen to me.
I think that Amazon is going to keep doing this until they hit one home run. They're just swinging for the fences with every one of these devices. I mean, they were going for it with the Fire. Nobody bought
4 or 5 years in development, must have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the Fire phone.
Yeah, they make lots of
money. Zippity-doo-dah. I don't know.
It's all loans. They don't make any real money.
But didn't Wall Street, isn't it starting to rebel a little bit in the last quarterly reports? They said, guys, you've got to start making money.
They issued a $170 million write-off for the Fire phone. That's one device,
Oh, Microsoft does it all the time.
Yeah, that's
like $1.5 billion on Xbox reserves in debt. It's no big deal. Overture, what the hell? It didn't go anywhere. We'll just take $1 billion off.
Yeah.
But I feel like Microsoft has the experience to give us devices that I have a little more faith in. I'm not a fanboy or anything, but it's just Amazon. The Kindle is great, but everything they've done after that device-wise has been kind of boring and kind of dull. I reviewed the Fire TV. it's a black box that plays Amazon videos like every other video streaming box. Like they're not doing anything new or interesting.
I tell you, it's an interesting world.
That's the conclusion of this segment.
Well, I think we're heading towards something. And I just feel like maybe the Amazon
slavery
black cylinder put me a little bit more in your court. It pushed me over that line where now I'm going,
well, eventually you'll come all the way and you realize that this is all a scam.
Have you read Whiskey Tango Foxtrot?
No.
Good book. You must have read it.
I have not yet, but I've been hearing great things about it.
David Schaefer, I think. It's. I'm listening to it on Audible. It's about this, basically. It's about... You've read it, Devindra. I see you nodding. Have you read it or you just heard about it?
I've heard of it. I haven't read it yet. I'm going through the Bone Clocks right now. So
that's supposed to be incredible.
It's amazing. Yeah.
What's the name of it?
The Bone Clocks. I got to get
the new David Mitchell book.
Yeah. But in Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, it really is about a global conspiracy by tech companies, very much like Microsoft and Google, who have created a cabal, not only to collect all information, which they've done successfally, but their ultimate goal apparently is to, well, I shouldn't say, no spoiler.
No, spoiler.
But it's not good.
Well, that's typical of this.
I'll say in a short phrase, genocide. They want to identify the top 5% of all smartest people
and kill everybody.
Kill the rest.
Yeah, that's why I think Bill Gates has been trying to do that.
Well, I wonder. I mean, really, it's no big deal. See, to me,
No Agenda fans are just in the audience.
They know. They know. They recognize. He's a knight. Are you a knight? He's a knight.
That's
a high level.
That's our supporter.
He's also a level 2 sommelier.
Oh, we can talk a little bit about wine.
Yeah,
later.
A little later on. Well, you see the T-shirt is the Elite Wine Podcast.
Oh, that one. Yes, that's a good one.
Let's take a break. I don't know.
Already?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we've kind of talked this one.
We talked about one thing, and then we go right to a break.
Yeah, that was the top story.
Oh.
Coming up, we're going to talk about Microsoft charting a new course with free software. Next.
You know these teasers are no good on this podcast. You know that.
No, but that's such a crappy teaser. Nobody's going to fast forward through the commercial. I guarantee you, nobody.
Really. That was a pretty good teaser.
Nobody wants to
talk about Microsoft.
Skip through the commercial so that they can hear Microsoft stuff.
Okay.
In fact, maybe we won't even do that.
No, we do have to do it.
We do now?
Yeah.
Okay. John is my conscience. Our show today brought to you by Shutterstock.com, a great place, the place to go for royalty-free stock images, video, illustrations, just sound now, by the way. Visit Shutterstock.com and you'll see, well, I always like to go to the bottom. Now they have, let's see the count, 44,415,849 royalty-free stock images. They added 300,000 this week. This week! So you might say, well, how? What good does that do me? How can I find, with 40 millions... How can I? Well, they've got the better search engine than Amazon for this stuff. So let's search for, I don't know, cylinder. Since we're talking about cylinders. So now I'll find a lot of cylinders, but let's narrow it down, for instance, because maybe your blog needs blue cylinders. So we're gonna narrow it down by color, and then they're gonna match the color. Or maybe you need cylinders that have people in them. And you can see, I can go on and on. You can actually choose whether it's editorial or not. You could say what gender, what age, what ethnicity, what number of people. This is an amazing search engine. You want to search for, I like to search for happy. You can use words like happy, hippos, and you will find happy hippopotami. There's happy hippos. Can you do sad hippos?
Of course.
Of course you can. I have pink hippos. There's an angry hippo. I have to say, I love Shutterstock. If you need royalty-free images, whether for your website, a publication, if you're doing ads, your videos, or any other type of project, even podcasts, because they also have now music, so you can have musical score stuff. I see movies nowadays I frequently see this in the credits, thanks to Shutterstock.com. Even movies use Shutterstock's amazing footage. I want you to try Shutterstock. If you go there right now, you can create an account without a credit card. That'll give you access not only to all the images, but the free images and videos they give away each week. Plus, the ability to put stuff in a Lightbox so you can share it with others or just keep it around for inspiration. The Lightbox galleries are great. They have multilingual customer service. They're in a dozen countries, full-time support throughout the week, and the best images. You might even want an image subscription. That's what I have, 25 images a day, because we use it throughout all of Twit. Just start an account, no credit card needed. But if you decide to buy, we're going to get you 20% off an image subscription package when you use our offer code. This is for the November 2014 time frame. Twit 1114 is the offer code. Twit 1114. Shutterstock.com. John, you're going to spoil your supper. You got red vines. You got nuts.
Nuts.
Crazy, man.
Nuts.
Microsoft. So this is Devindra's choice. I actually asked before the show began, what do you want to talk about?
Well, he's got the story covered, apparently.
And, well, it's interesting because, and I think this is a little bit of a turnaround. If you use Office for iPad, it's now free. Is that right, Devindra?
Yeah, well, you can now create and edit documents for free on the iPhone, iPad, and I think Android. They just started doing the Android preview.
That's about to come out, yeah.
That's coming too. And, it's a really big change for Microsoft because people have waited so long for these apps, and they were released earlier this year, but you needed the Office 365 subscription to really do anything with them. And I think this is Microsoft waking up to the fact that they kind of have to be more open. You kind of have to just let consumers come in there and test your products out. And what you're really selling is not just, individual licenses anymore or just these specific programs. You're selling the platform. You really want people to start subscribing at some point. So you kind of open the door a little, let them use it a bit. And it makes sense that eventually, as people get used to it, they may start subscribing.
What's interesting, you see iOS, you see Android. You don't see Windows Phone.
Ah. That's funny.
It's
classic.
Yeah. I think this
probably doesn't work on the Windows Phone.
This is kind of a new Microsoft. Well, I don't think they have it for Windows Phone. They have like Office, but not like this. Not a touch first Office.
Microsoft's never had their communications between divisions.
I think this is different. I think this is the new Microsoft. I think this is Satya Nadella's Microsoft, where it's really about devices and services and less about selling boxed software. Yeah, of course, I think Devindra's right. They want to get people to subscribe to Office 365, but more importantly, they want people to live in the Microsoft ecosystem. And they figure we'll make money in the cloud, we'll make money some way. They just started offering unlimited free storage in OneDrive if you have an Office 365 subscription. Unlimited.
Unlimited?
Yeah.
I wonder what the throughput actually is.
Well, if you think about it, it's not practical to put 30 terabytes in the cloud just because of the upload speeds.
Well, if you had one of these gigabit connections that you can get from Verizon, then maybe it would be.
Offer not available in Austin and Kansas City. Yeah, I think this is a new. I think this is kind of a new Microsoft. This is a Microsoft that's focused more on
new Microsoft, same old employees.
Well, they got a new CEO.
Yeah, well, he's a 30-year vet.
How many people did they fire? They fired tens of thousands.
Supposedly they're firing them.
They're in the third round of firing.
Well, yeah, he's firing people. That's true.
I don't know. I feel like this is
I'm not seeing any difference.
You think it's the same one? Wish I could figure out how to use this computer, but somebody's put comic book keys all over.
So somebody did that. You didn't do it.
No, I did it.
Why would you do such a thing?
How long did it take to put all those stickers on?
It took one Security Now episode.
Okay.
So that's how bad the show has become.
Oh, it's like knitting or
you'd be knitting during
your
Steve's
nails.
going on and on about
Steve's talking about security.
Cholesterol.
I'm listening while I'm doing it. I'm putting stickers on. So a number of people tweeted me, well, you should get somebody who pays attention to the show if you're going to do that. Because I did. I posted a picture, said this is what I do.
Yeah, well.
I think it was like knitting. It's like making potholders.
I think, by the way, Security Now is your best show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Steve is
You know the other show I like? You'll never guess.
I'll never guess.
Yeah.
The Gizwiz.
No.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No, I like that show, but it's no.
What do you like the best?
I think maybe it is the best show.
What?
You're never going to
This show.
Well, this show is the cash cow.
This is the cash cow.
Yeah, but this doesn't count.
That doesn't mean it's the best. It means it's just the best, listened to.
That Wilkinson guy, the home theater guy.
You like the Home Theater Geek show with Scott Wilkinson?
That show is absolutely...
It is amazing. I wish more people listened to it because it really is good.
It's the best show anyone does.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
He gets hot shots from Hollywood. They tell you all this crazy stuff going on. You would never know about it. It's almost like just pure, unusual, and interesting news.
He did...
and he's got such a great voice, that guy.
Yeah. And a laugh.
Whoa. Yeah, that guy. He's great.
Apple says, put on your big boy pants and accept our agreement. The Squiller memorandum is out. This is very exciting. We've been waiting for the Squiller memorandum.
It's GT technology.
Yeah, right? You're right. The Sapphire Company. We actually talked about this a couple of twits ago with Philip Elmer DeWitt, who was in the courtroom, and he said, I suspect Apple's been trying to seal these documents, and the judge really sounded like he was not inclined to. And in fact, on Friday, all of the documents associated with the GT Advanced Technology Chapter 11 bankruptcy were released, including what many wanted to see, which is the so-called Squiller memorandum. Squiller, I think, was the COO of GT Technology. We had already learned a few things, like, for instance, Apple fined its partners $50 million for each leak that could be traced back to them. That was in the contract. But the Squiller memorandum is actually, I don't know. You tell me. Is this an indictment of Apple? It was an entire Apple confidentiality agreement as well as a, quote, master development and supply agreement, end quote. Squiller says Apple didn't really enter into negotiations, merely saying that, okay, let me explain a little bit about what they were interested in. GT Advanced Technologies made sapphire furnaces. They didn't make sapphire. They made the furnaces. But Apple decided that they were going to have GT build these furnaces and build a factory in Mesa, Arizona to make huge quantities of sapphire for an unnamed product. During the negotiations, which really weren't negotiations, GT managers were told, don't waste your time negotiating. We don't negotiate. After the company balked, Apple said, quote, put on your big boy pants and accept the agreement, end quote. Some of the terms, we mentioned the $50 million penalty for breach of confidentiality.
It's not an unusual position to take if you're a Silicon Valley company.
If you're at Apple and you say
it's
to somebody...
It's a Silicon Valley thing. It's not Apple
either do the deal with us or not. There's no negotiation. This is what we're going to give you.
Intel pulls this crap too.
And I can understand. And if you're the kind of company that supplies pieces to smartphones, you'd love to have Apple as a client.
Sure.
What's a little different about GT, they'd never really made sapphire. They'd only sold the furnaces. Here's an interesting one. No manufacturing processes could be modified by GT without Apple's prior consent, but GT must immediately implement any suggestions from Apple.
It was a very bizarre situation because you did essentially have Apple dictating to a very important supplier that you're going to start doing something completely different. Instead of making machine tools, you're going to make cars or something like that. Instead of making the things that create the sapphire that we need, we insist that you make the sapphire. They then loaned them almost $500 million to create these furnaces. And according to the Squiller memo, if you believe it, they then micromanaged them in such a degree that they failed.
Right.
And just why in the world would you want to micromanage your suppliers that much? But when it's a question...
Well, remember, their suppliers are usually Asian.
Yeah.
So, and I have a feeling this is probably a template that they use for Foxconn and other Asian suppliers that maybe works in China.
It probably doesn't work anywhere. I'm guessing the way it would normally work in Silicon Valley is that Apple would make a demand. We want you to do it this way. And you say, yep. And you don't do it.
How high?
You don't do it.
You don't do it.
No, you never do it. And then they say you can't change processes. You just change processes. How are they going to know?
Oh, I'll tell you how.
Embedded people, right?
Apple also embedded its own employees at the Mesa plant who, quote, assumed a level of authority.
If you cannot get those guys marginalized, then you shouldn't be in business.
They had to be reminded not to order GT employees around. Apple really thought it was their plant. In fact, according to this, the plant was built without GT's input. Apple decided to forego backup power generators because they were too expensive. Apparently that was a problem. GT was also required to fulfill any order placed by Apple on the date selected by Apple. You will give us this.
This sounds like a lot of whining.
Or buy substitute goods at GT's expense.
This is just one of those bullshit contracts that there's a lot of whining.
I guess you agreed to it, right?
Yeah, that's the main issue. At the end of the day, he did agree to it, and so who is
he claimed it was bait and switch too, though.
But he's
sure it was.
He's the COO of
thing that goes on.
He should know better. Huh?
The COO of a publicly traded company basically said this was an appalling contract, and that's why we went bankrupt. But it's like, guess what? You signed it. You have a fiduciary obligation.
The whole thing may have
to
been
your
a scam to go
shareholders. I mean, this is
bankrupt
the share price.
Yeah. Well, their CEO sold right before that.
Yeah, there's another issue going on.
He said, I was selling all along.
I'm out of here. Hey, Apple, you got all what you wanted. Here, take the company.
And you know what? Had Apple used the Sapphire in the phone and bought it all, maybe none of this would have happened.
Do we know what exactly the Sapphire is all about?
Well, we don't.
We know what Gorilla Glass kind of is, but what is this? Is it
the speculation
Sapphire
was they were going to put it on top of the screen of the phone?
And the point being?
For better...
Fewer scratches.
There's not that many scratches on these phones.
No, the Gorilla Glass 3 is very good. And
I have a 3-year-old phone that hasn't got a scratch on it, front or back.
Right. That's...
What? It's a Gorilla Glass.
Awesome.
It is in my pocket with my keys.
But Sapphire is used on the Touch ID on all Apple iPhones. It's used to protect the camera lens. Many watches use it. That was the other presumption, is maybe it's for the Apple Watch.
The finger button too, right? The
Touch ID, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a deeper story going on here, right, about what went down with these companies, why Apple chose not to jump into Sapphire as quickly as maybe some of us thought it would. It's kind of funny, too, because, I don't know, I know the new iPhones, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, have slightly better screens, probably a new, better Gorilla Glass. But I'm really wondering, I'm not sure what Apple would really gain by making the jump to Sapphire, because it's a much more expensive material. And there's still a lot of speculation about how it's strong. It's stronger against scratch resistance, but Sapphire is worse when it comes to impacts, like dropping it, which is what I think a lot of people end up doing to their phones. So they need to strike that balance, and I'm wondering if they just got cold feet or something.
I think it's a material science issue. It's very hard to do something that both won't scratch and will survive.
Could be a production problem.
Glass, for instance, is hardened glass is great against scratches, but not so good against impact.
It may not be.
Plastic is great for impact, but remember the nano?
It may not be something they can make a lot of.
Well, I think that's what happened is that they had made Sapphire for small surfaces, even a lot of cheap watches have Sapphire. But to make it for a 5.5-inch phone might have proven difficult.
You maybe could do it, but you couldn't do enough of it.
Right.
You have to. These phones
that was
came
the rumor.
out. They wanted to sell tons of these.
Only 1 in 4 got through.
Yeah, that
was the rumor. And so Apple said, well, take off your big boy pants. And
like somebody said, somebody in the chat room said that iPhone 7 should be made from 100% rubber.
There you go. Actually, rubber has excellent scratch resistance and
it bounces.
Impact resistance.
And it bounces, yes. It bounces. You can use it as a basketball.
Not great for touch. So hard to win this one. I have in my little hands a Nexus 9. Ooh. This is yours, Jason, right? Jason Howell.
That's right. Got it last Thursday.
This is, I think, the first device to have an official Android 5.0 lollipop on it, right?
That's right. The first device in hand that isn't running a version of Lollipop that's more of a developer preview.
Exactly. This is release.
Official. Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, Jason's played with this. They've changed some things right away. This is, by the way, a trend in the industry to digital native. So remember I have one right here. This is an older Android device that on the buttons, for the back button has a curved arrow. For the home button has a little house. For the recent apps has a stack of apps. We've now gone to a triangle. That still points a direction, so that's pretty straightforward. The circle is now home, and a square for recent apps.
What was wrong with the old icons?
Because it's it's still skeuomorphic. It's still
it's totally clear.
Home.
So what?
Is a house. Why should home be a house?
Because home is usually a house.
Home is a house.
It should mean something. I think
gratuitous changes are bullcrap. What's the point? Everyone got used to the home being a house. Would somebody object to it because they live in a mud hut? It doesn't make any sense.
This is why we
seriously. I'm asking the question.
No, it's a good.
It feels like a step backwards, right? It's like Control Alt Delete. Whenever I used to work in IT, when I told people that, what do those buttons mean? What do they really mean? Why are you pressing them together? Square, circle, Y? I don't know.
Yeah. No, you're right. No, that's a good point. This is flat. I think part of it is a design choice. But really, the other reason that companies do this is because now it's new, and you might want to buy a new one.
Oh, yeah. That'll draw me in.
So a single swipe just brings down the notifications. 2-finger swipe brings down the quick settings. A very big difference. And if you look at the settings, if you're used to...
What about 3 fingers? What do the 3 fingers do? Does that do something? What about the 1-finger salute? Does that do something?
No.
Okay.
I don't
just
believe
wondering.
It does. No, it's a good question. This is the new settings. It's all on one page. That's an improvement. It used to be a long scrolling thing.
Mm-hmm. It was so inconvenient.
Now they call Bluetooth Blacktooth, just so you know.
No.
You're going to have to find that.
It's not.
Wi-Fi is now called Arrow Networking.
No, it doesn't.
No? just for change's sake. You make a good point. There's no reason to change things if everybody knows what they are.
But, a big part of Lollipop is just redesigning the UI entirely. And I think
make it look more modern. Right?
To make it look more modern and to step up the design language. So I think if they were to come out with Lollipop and it had the same navigation, people probably wouldn't care. But the fact that it's changed makes it feel even more different.
Yeah.
Is it good or bad? That's,
it's to make it look more Apple, it seems to me.
Yeah. It's
or
a response
Sony.
to iOS 7, right? That's clearly what it is.
Can I? There's the... I don't want to show your email, Jason.
Yeah. No, you're fine with that account.
This is the new Gmail 5.0. New looking inbox. It's a little different. You're smart, Jason. I should do this. Jason made a dummy account without real info. I always show people's phone numbers.
I don't know what is wrong with you.
It's sexy texts. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, my spam email account. And one cool feature about Lollipop is profiles. So that's a Twit demo profile. I can switch to my own personal profile, and that has all my personal stuff on it.
Right. I think that's nice.
But that's really handy. And I thought that wasn't going to be as handy on the phone, but I have the preview on my phone, and it comes in. I use it all the time with my 4-year-old daughter.
Because you have a little kid, yeah. Mm-hmm. 2 little kids.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty, but I think change for change's sake a little bit because you need to look fresh and new. And
no, you don't.
Well, look, everything does. Well, look at Microsoft and Windows 7 to Windows 8.
Look at us.
We look exactly the same. Unchanged. All right, well, there you go. This is, by the way, the reviews are kind of lukewarm on the Nexus 9.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's just another tablet, right?
Yeah, I mean, I need to spend more time with it, of course. But I think the one thing that I'm realizing is, it's the first 64-bit official version of Android, and it's the first 64-bit tablet running the first 64-bit version of Android. And there's still a lot of app incompatibility that I've bumped into. And also, you kind of expect, okay, so if it's totally juiced up, everything should be super smooth and fluid. And things more or less are, but you still get some jitteriness here and there. And I would just hope that, when does that go away for good?
Never.
Yeah.
John,
you want it to, though.
Look,
you
John,
really
you've been
want
doing
it
this
to.
a long time.
Yeah.
When does that go away? When is everything just fast?
You know what it reminds me of? When I was early on, I remember the early DOS and CPM machines and all the rest. And they used to have a scroll when you do a DIR. You scroll down at a certain speed. It was 90. It was all that was speed was a standard.
Yeah.
Once this processor sped up, they slowed down the software so it would still have that same. It never changes. Everything's like this kind of this strange standard of kind of borderline sluggishness, and as it gets improved, somebody finds some way to make it.
That's the thing, is as soon as you get more capabilities, you go, oh, well, that's great. With that,
we can do this.
Let's
do more.
So they keep adding on.
Yeah,
it's true.
I always thought Linux was going to solve that problem, but the
same problem.
The same problem with Linux. The size of the builds is huge now.
Right. So you may have, I mean, if you think about it, 4 gigs of RAM. If you think back to those old days when 4 megabytes was a lot, 4 gigs is a huge amount of RAM. A terabyte hard drive is a massive hard drive,
and
neither
too small.
Neither are enough.
No, you need 4 terabytes minimum in all machines.
Crazy.
And probably 16. I don't know how many gigs you use. Like 1632, something like that.
We're starting to sound like old men, John.
Hey, when I was a kid, we had 100 kilobytes on our memory card boards.
But I think your question is right, Jason, is why isn't this stuff feeling faster? Feeling snappier?
And I think that's kind of been a criticism of, well, two things have been a criticism with Android for as long as I've been following it. One is that the UI and the user experience isn't up to snuff, isn't mature, isn't enjoyable to use. True fans are cool with it, but you pop this, an Android device in front of someone and then an iOS device, and people are going to find the iOS device prettier, like things are a little bit more polished. That, and then there's also the speed factor, scrolling through web pages, using the UI, jumping from here to there. Android's capable of so much, but yet you still run into those speed bumps, and that's totally noticeable. And you just kind of hope at some point to figure that out, and it seems to keep happening.
I'll give you an example. This is the Droid Turbo. So this is basically a Moto X with a swollen up battery. It's almost a 3,000.
It doesn't look that heavy.
Well, it's a little bit heavier.
No, just these light. Are you kidding me?
Well, it's not hugely heavier, but it's thicker. It's a little thicker.
It's chunky.
It's chunkier, and it has. But the point of it, when we were all very excited about this, is it has, what is it, a 2990 milliamp hour battery, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, 3900 milliamp hour battery. Huge battery. So
What
this
they
should
say,
go
like 48 hours.
Yeah,
or
this should go
something like
weeks.
that. Yeah.
But as soon as they put the bigger battery in, they said, well, now that there's a bigger battery,
Right, we can find some other way to
let's
chew
put
it up.
in quad-core GPU, Adreno graphics, 2.7 gigahertz processors, 4 of them. Let's put in a quad HD screen, 2560 by 1440, and now the battery life, it's back down to 12 hours. It's like, could you just put even if they put a 1080p screen in here, which would, by the way, I can't tell the difference between 350, 400 dots per inch and 523 dots per inch, which this is. It's crazy.
Not at that size.
You can't. I don't need a 500 DPI screen. But that kills the battery because you have to have these big GPUs and you have to push all the pixels. And so it's okay. It's a good battery, but it could have been so good. And no, they said, well, no, we got a big battery.
Trade-offs.
Do you think it's a conspiracy, John?
No.
Oh, come on.
It's just natural. It's a very natural thing for geeks to do this.
We got the power. Let's take advantage of it. I was really hoping. I just wanted to get what is the 1+1 get? It's like 20 hours. 1080p screen.
Somewhere around there. It's pretty great.
It goes all day.
Yeah.
You plug it in every night. You get up in the morning, you unplug it, and it goes until you go to bed again.
No issues.
This is more like it's almost 16. Oh, it's almost there. 16 hours, almost there.
Oh, that's crazy.
15 hours and 58 minutes on this thing.
There are so many specs on mobile devices now that just don't make any sense, right? Why do you need 4K video shooting on your smartphone? You're not going to be able to play back at that resolution. You don't even have a device in your home that can play that resolution. Yet all of these phones have 4K.
You got it.
And none of it makes any sense.
4K, 60p. You bet it.
Yeah, 4K.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, we should point out that in order to do 4K, they have to compress the hell out of it. So otherwise, the I/O bus couldn't carry it. So it's crappy 4K, even better.
It's a huge file, and you have 16 gigs, maybe.
Oh yeah, there's another
gigs of
problem.
storage.
Yeah, because I got the red back, there's only 32 gigs of storage on this, and no SD card. If I had gotten the ballistic nylon, I could.
Yeah, the SD card would come in handy.
But you know what, John? This is Kevlar. You could shoot me.
I could.
All you'd have to do is miss the phone.
Yes, right, exactly. This phone looks like to really block a bullet if you're really fast.
Wonder Woman.
It's like Wonder Woman.
Yeah. They're Kevlar phones.
Is that Kevlar? Why would they make it Kevlar? What's the point?
Okay, well,
it's not. You're just kidding me again.
No, it's metallic glass back with Kevlar backing.
Why?
Reasons.
That's the reason. Reasons. We did right because it went through. I don't know. Let's see it. It sure is light. Well, it's not.
It's not that light compared to a regular phone. It's not. It's a little heavier, and it is. You have one, Devindra, obviously, or you've held it.
I've tested it out, and it's nice. It feels good, but I'm really sad whenever I get really great hardware that's somehow hobbled by a crazy high spec or something like that, or bloatware or something.
It's a nice phone.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it, and it's got all the features of the Moto X, which I love, but the Moto X battery life was even worse.
I can't afford these things. I have to use a 3-year-old phone. 3-year-old.
I gave you a Fire phone. Do you use it? No.
Oh, it's horrible.
You actually, Engadget gave a very positive review to the Droid Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you said the real star of the show is that quad HD display. It is, I mean, it's 500 plus dots per inch.
Yeah.
Do you really need that?
Generally, remember when 72 dots per inch seems to be what people can see.
Well, I mean, it's Retina. All righty, all Rudy.
Retina for robots.
Retina for robots, right?
Or something, yeah. It's I've tested a couple devices out with Quad HD, and it's weird because you can't really see a difference between 1080p side by side.
No.
But if it's a really big screen, Samsung's new Galaxy Tab S tablets have these amazing screens. You put that thing up to your face, and it feels almost three-dimensional. But that makes more sense for a tablet, not so much for a phone, you know?
Well, and the other thing, and this one doesn't do it, but Apple does it, is this what do they call it? The touch screen is melded to the glass somehow, so it's right on the surface, and that makes a bigger difference, frankly, than 500 DPI.
While we're talking about this, why don't we talk about John Scully's new company, Obi? Do we have any? Is that on your list there of hits?
It's not. I didn't.
This is the big news in Europe.
Not Ubi. We talked about Ubi earlier.
OBI. Mm-hmm. He was the #1 guy at the what's that web conference in Dublin?
You know what? Everybody was talking. Should we have gone to that web conference?
Yes, you should have.
Because it's in Dublin in November. Beautiful time of year.
Great time of year, yeah.
Is this it? The leading retailer for home improvement in Europe?
No, that's not it. That's funny. He's going to have a. I didn't realize
he's got a little problem.
He's got a problem.
A little bit of a problem.
Launches affordable Obi smartphones in Dubai, where everybody's on a budget.
That's the market.
No, it's actually the market's for Southeast Asia.
Obi Dubai. Obidi da doobidi die. Obidu da bye bye.
Sounds like a doo-wop.
Anyway, they gave him a whole segment on the France Van Cat TV network talking about this thing. He's got a bunch of companies involved with this character.
If Steve Jobs, says John Scully, if Steve Jobs were to see the Obi phone, he'd probably say, it's not good enough. Great way to start.
There's no price.
Way to sell it, John.
Way to sell it.
So I was going
He feels bad. He apologized for firing Steve Jobs. He said, it's the worst thing I ever did.
Well, it improved the company by a lot.
Yes. Jobs went out, got some training, learned some skills, came back.
No, the finances. People keep overlooking this, and I'll bring it up again because I was listening to some podcast. We discussed this on the No Agenda show, by the way.
NoAgendaShow.com.
Right. You can't bring the site down.
You cannot bring it down.
When I think Scully was there from 83 to 93, and he took over the company in 85. At that time, the company had been doing $800 million a year, and Steve went off to start Next.
Right.
When Scully was ousted, the company was at $8 billion. He had taken the company 10x, and people blame him. Oh, Scully came over, and the company. No, the company went way up. It was the guys after Scully.
It was Herr Spindler.
Spindler for starters,
and the fine.
And then the guy from National
Gil
Semi.
Emilio.
Right, those guys. Yeah. If Scully had stayed there, who knows? It might the company. I mean, go in a different direction, obviously. But
maybe
that
OB
was nonsense about blaming him. And Scully spends a lot of time trying to correct the record.
Yeah.
And it's a shame.
He does feel bad, though, about the Steve thing.
Well, looking back on it, I guess because,
he could have found a little corner office for him. Just stick him over there.
I think Steve quit.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
You know who quit? Christian Bale will not be playing Steve in the movie, I'm sad to say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
He says, I'm just not the right guy for this. I thought he was the perfect guy. However, Seth Rogen will play Steve Wozniak.
Well, that's not a bad cast.
That's perfect.
Casting, yeah.
And I actually sent an email to Steve and asked him. He said, yeah, I'm really happy about that. So that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. The Obi Octopus. It looks like an Android phone. I think it is.
It's an Android phone. I saw it on the television. Yeah, it's obviously an Android phone, and it is going to be cheap. But I was looking at Amazon the other day for cheap phones.
There's a ton of them.
There's a ton of them. There's for
no
$99
lack
bucks.
Of phones in this market.
Right, there could be, and they're all cheap, and they have good specs.
In fact, Microsoft's
I think anyone
got
paying
a few
$500
of
or
them.
$600 for a phone is crazy.
Right.
These are all unlocked.
There's some very good $99, $79 Lumia phones. The Was it 730, 720?
Oh, the Lumia is not a bad deal.
What price point is he going for then? I mean, it says that he wants to launch these in India. I don't know if they have a subsidized market in India, but like, what? Where's the hole?
This is the question he actually answers. This question, he says that the market is so overheated in third world that all you have to do is just be in the market. You're going to make a lot of money. You don't have to worry about market share taking money away from anybody else. It's just overheated, and that's all he's getting in for. It's an opportunistic play.
Yeah.
So there's nothing really. There's not a long-term thing. This is one of those disposable.
It's pretty cheap. Yeah, I had to do the calculator. It's 99 UAE dirhams, which is $27.
$27 for a smartphone. That kind of break the back of some of these guys.
That's cheap.
Yeah, I'd get one.
But they're piggybacking, frankly, on the work Google's done with Android. I mean,
Google put it out there for a reason.
Yeah.
We're going to actually take a break and come back because there have been some changes at Google to free up time for Larry Page. He gave an interview with the Financial Times in which he talks about what he wants to do next, and it's going to be a little scary.
Yeah.
Again with the paranoia.
Too much. Too many Burning Man events. That's what I think is happening here.
I don't know. Our show today brought to you by Gazelle. If you've got a gadget and you're ready to get the next gadget, and God knows I'm the king of this, you got to know about Gazelle. We Gazelle our old stuff. And I tell you get a great price. If you go to Gazelle.com right now, you can get a quote good for 30 days. That's nice because I don't think we've seen all the new phones out yet. There's enough. For instance, there's the Nexus 6 is coming out November 21st. There's more to come, and maybe it would be a good idea. It would behoove you to lock in a price now before your value goes down. You could sell broken iPhones and iPads. They'll even buy those. Samsung, Blackberries, Nokias, Lumias. They'll buy Surface tablets, iPads, and give you top dollar too. What's great if you forget? Look at that, $245, the unlocked price for a 5S, 64 gigs AT&T. That's a great.
And
deal.
with that money, you could get 10 of the shows.
the Obi phones.
The Obi phones.
Give them to all your friends. Have a phone. They're cheap. I love Gazelle. Gazelle.com. They've paid out now more than $170 million to over 1 million customers. If you forget to wipe your data or you can't because it's broken, they will wipe it for you, of course. But the main thing is lock in these prices for 30 days. That gives you time to decide, to buy, transfer the data over, set up your new device, and then check out. They'll send you a box prepaid, so you never have to pay postage. And the processing's quick. They will send you a check. You can get a PayPal credit if you're in a hurry, or get the Amazon gift cards because they'll bump those up 5% if you do buy a lot on Amazon. If you are an Amazon Prime kind of person, that's a great deal, a little extra in your pocket there. Gazelle, Gazelle.com. Devindra Hardawar is here, new senior editor at Engadget. What's your beat there, Devindra?
Apparently, Devindra just dropped.
We beat him. Well, we'll get him back on. John C. Dvorak also here from channeldvorak.com and noagendashow.com. And, of course, Rob Reid, who's working on his new novel. I know novelists don't like to talk about novels in process.
I don't mind.
I never heard that.
Have you ever written a novel?
Yeah.
Really?
Has it ever been printed?
No.
What's it about? Civil War?
I got a new one coming out. I'm going to actually finish this one.
Weren't you going to write a book on the Civil War?
I got a bunch of things in the can. I'm not in the can, but in the pipeline.
Actually, I leave my novels in the can. So that's perfect.
Well, I've almost done that.
Yeah.
But the vinegar book is still in the pipeline.
Can you come over and diagnose my vinegar?
I can already tell what's wrong with it.
It's got little white dots on the top.
Shake it.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, then unless you're getting mold, that can happen.
Do you add acetobacter to your vinegar? Or
that would be the way to go if you want to do it right.
Oh.
But it has to be the right one. This is the problem people have when they make vinegar. They use the wrong acetobacters.
Where do you get acetobacter?
Usually in a bottle of Old Bordeaux. It's in there.
I need a bottle of Old Bordeaux?
You have plenty of Bordeaux around.
I do. I don't know how old it is. How old does old mean?
20.
20 years old?
Well, I mean, it's not old as 100.
Why is there acetobacter in it?
Because all the wines have it naturally in the wine. It's just a little bit of it.
Well, that's what I'm doing. Is I'm just pouring every time we don't finish a bottle. I pour it in my.
Not to turn this into a vinegar club, but what you have to do, because you have to be careful of what kind of acetobacters and whether the wine's even capable of turning into vinegar, is take the individual unused bottles, top them with a little piece of paper towel.
Don't put it right away in the special vinegar maker.
No, because you'll kill the vinegar in there if you got some chemical.
Just put a little foil on it, but it needs to breathe.
It needs to breathe. You use paper towel.
Paper towel, and let it sit
for about 2 months.
Okay.
And then you smell it. You can tell right away whether it's
if it's good or not. Just
whether it's good for the vinegar. Yeah.
So, John, there's going to be an entire vinegar book.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because I think people are killing themselves with the bull crap that they're told on the web and elsewhere. And the web, by the way, is a disaster for information.
I know, because your book hadn't come out. I looked it up on the web, and that's why I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah, probably.
Would you please finish the book? What's the...
Yes, I will.
What's the novel?
You do well in Brooklyn, John.
Is this the... I think artisanal vinegars are very popular in Brooklyn.
It's I haven't heard about vinegar, but right down the street from me, there's artisanal mayonnaise. So yeah, everybody artisanal, all the things. Yeah,
I don't know about that. Artisanal mayonnaise.
Hell yeah.
Artisanal botulism comes out of that.
This ain't your grandpa's aioli. All right.
I'm interrupting.
Devindra's back.
I'm back. Sorry.
I was just asking you what your beat is at Engadget.
I'm still figuring that out, but I really I want to do some like entertainment tech coverage just because I've done the movie stuff for a while. But
you got a great movie podcast. We should actually plug that.
Sure, yeah. That's the Slash Filmcast at slashfilm.com. I've been doing that for over 6 years now. It's crazy.
What, really?
Yeah. And you guys, like this show, This Week in Tech, and everything you guys have done, like you guys were a big inspiration for all of that.
What did you think about Interstellar? I see that's the current post.
Yeah, what did you think of it?
I loved it, but I also saw it on 70 millimeter IMAX, huge screen. It's a beautiful experience, but it's not a perfect movie. It has some problems. I think the way Christopher Nolan movies work is that he creates this. Yeah, you kind of have to take them as a whole, and you can start picking apart things.
Was it IMAX 3D?
No.
Thank God.
No, it's not. I'm so thrilled it wasn't 3D.
Why?
I went to the theater last night. I said, "Okay, give me the glasses." They said, "No glasses." I said,
no
what?
So it's just straight IMAX, old-fashioned.
Yeah, big.
And that's actually better.
It was shot in IMAX.
Yeah, because IMAX film can't be 3D, so you get the bigger film and you can fill the whole screen. Yeah. IMAX 3D is it's like 4K, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got to go see it in IMAX. Do bring a lunch, though. It's fairly long.
14 hours, I hear.
Yeah. And that's before they get to the black hole. So it does feel like 14 hours. It's not quite that long. It's almost 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad. I don't mind. You know what?
Bring your money's worth.
Yeah, your money. Exactly.
They don't charge extra for the ticket, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's always the same price.
Wear your diapers. Web8082 wants to know if you should wear. Yes, wear your diapers. Bring your diapers. Because you don't. Well, you won't want to get up in the middle of the movie. There's lots of stuff.
Just tell them to stop it.
The motion picture company was at great pains to tell people like you, Devindra, not to spoil the movie. Not merely the plot. But the cast.
Well, let's spoil it. Come on.
No.
Why?
No. There's a surprise in the cast.
Oh, who cares?
There's a whole bunch. And actually, some of the actors, they play roles that people didn't realize what they were going to be earlier on. Yeah.
My favorite is Bill Irwin as the robot.
So good.
He's really good. And I didn't know it was Bill Irwin. I was just thinking, this guy, whoever's doing this robot voice is great. And then I realized it's Bill Irwin. And he's a San Francisco-based mime troupe comic and just really talented. And
I find that this idea of avoiding the spoilers is like people who have, somebody gets pregnant and I don't want to know what sex it is.
Just like that.
I want to be surprised. I think that's dumb. If you could know
it's
in advance.
A little different. Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to me if you could find out in advance, why wouldn't you want to know?
I feel like we're kind of held hostage by the anti-spoiler crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like that they are large and vindictive.
And
I
don't. As somebody who does a movie podcast, yes.
Yeah, you must know that, right? They're worse than gamers.
Sure. I wouldn't say that because the gamer has gotten kind of crazy. But the spoiler thing, I don't think a specific plot point can ruin a film for you. But at the same time, we are just bombarded by everything these days, right? And trailers give away everything. So many trailers give away the entire movie.
That pisses me off.
I want to be surprised sometimes, at least.
I know that, for instance, the Dumb and Dumb trailer probably has every joke in it already. So I've seen everything funny that's going to happen in Dumb and Dumber 2, 20 years later.
Didn't they already have a sequel? Dumb and Dumberer? Was it?
Yeah, there was already a sequel. How's this
so maybe
two?
the next one is Dumb and Dumberer 2.
I guess it makes. I think the pun is that it's number 2, but it's actually number 3.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
That's how dumb it is.
Well, it's also spelled T-O, which is awesome.
Don't you think, though, that Jeff Daniels, they must be throwing so much money at this guy, because why would he do this movie? Jim Carrey, I understand.
Yeah, this is the ode to Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey will never get an Academy Award because he keeps doing these movies. He's been rejected by Hollywood. But he's been a good actor in many a film. Sure. I mean, really good. But he will not. But he insults he insults Hollywood with these movies.
I feel like Adam Sandler may be the bigger culprit here. You know.
God.
But Jeff Daniels, it's awesome that he can go from something like The Newsroom, right, which is this great serious role, to Dumb and Dumber 2. I have so much respect for the guy for being able to like juggle that.
That is range, my friends.
Range.
That is
range involved. This is This Week in Movies, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. We've got Vinegar. We've got movies.
We've got Vinegar, movies, and
I
want
to talk about Larry Page taking over the world. No, the commercial's long gone.
Huh.
I want to talk about Larry Page taking over the world. But you know what I also want to do is run a house ad. Would you mind?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Let's take a look.
Previously on Twit.
Boy.
Windows Weekly.
We are here to discuss all the wonderful things of the new Microsoft Shackle, as Paul calls it.
This thing has more sensors on it than an Imperial probe drive.
Security Now.
This was Michael Prince, who contributed this short observation. I just bought a new TV, and I'm now afraid to turn it on. The amount of data this thing collects is staggering.
This Week in Google.
Larry's obviously brilliant, and I think Google's fantastic, but I worry that somebody now suddenly has a lot of power, influence, and money. It's almost as if he wants to create his own system.
Disruption helps in a lot of ways, and disruption hurts a lot of industries.
Marketing Mavericks.
This idea of regulation, I mean, you're talking about somebody saying, well, hey, if you donate, we'll triple it. Who's regulating this?
You gotta go.
I hope there will.
Frank Collar.
Twit. We read the tech news, so you don't have to.
Facebook, and a brand new Twitter thing, and tech.
That was the high point of the week. There you go.
Who's the voiceover?
I don't know. Who did that? That was Sarah Lane in somebody's mouth.
No, not that voiceover, but the over voice.
Oh, that's Jim Cutler, the fine Jim Cutler. You probably heard him on ESPN and many other radio stations around the world. He is the voiceover guy and a fan.
He's a fan of the show?
Somebody. And he just gives us those every week and does such a great job, and we thank you, Jim.
Do you actually pay him?
I don't know. We don't. I think we've offered him money, and he refuses.
He does it for free?
I think he refuses it. Yeah. Your money is no good here, I think is the phrase he used.
This sounds unlikely.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe that's just what they're telling me.
Well, maybe that's because you tried to pay him with rubles.
Yeah, your money is no good here.
Literally.
These are Confederate dollars. They're gonna be worth something.
Actually, most Confederate dollars are worth something. I have a pretty good collection.
You think the South will rise again?
No, they're just as collectibles.
Oh, okay.
The South's gonna rise again.
He's got them buried.
Most of them are about at the face value of a Confederate bill is usually worth about that much plus.
Really?
So if you had a huge,
Wait, you have a collection of Confederate dollars?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of.
I have known John.
I have a lot of memorabilia from the Civil War.
30 years, and I still learn new things about him all the time.
Yeah, I've got some bonds too, some Confederate bonds that are signed off. It's pretty.
By what's his name?
By whoever what's his name was.
Gray Davis? No, wait a minute. That's Jefferson Davis.
Jefferson Davis.
Gray's a father.
Actually, I may have
Gray
Jefferson Davis. I don't think
governor,
so.
Right?
Gray was the governor.
Yeah. He got
Jefferson was the president.
No,
That's right.
The bonds are worth something too.
Yeah.
I'll bet a bond signed by Gray Davis would be worth something now.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah, it might be.
Absolutely not. Let us check in with Mike Elgin. He's our news director here at Twit, and he looks ahead every week
here?
to see. Well, he's here in spirit.
Coming up this week, Samsung stuff. The Samsung Developers Conference starts Tuesday, November 11th in San Francisco, and the Samsung Galaxy Note Edge, that weird phone with a display that curves around the right side, goes on sale in the United States on Friday, November 14th. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Leo.
I'm kind of bummed. I bought the Note 4, and I really like the Note 4, but I'm wondering maybe I should have waited.
No.
No? You've seen it.
That thing is awful. Have you guys held it?
No.
So, phablets are big and kind of unwieldy, but I think Samsung's done a good job of making the Note series at least holdable, better than the iPhone 6 Plus. The Note Edge is this awkward thing where like there's just too much screen and there's no really easy or nice way to hold it.
Because it's got this whole thing on the edge.
Yeah, it's like they just slapped another bit of screen on top of the Note 4 or something.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see how people respond to that.
I'm actually surprisingly happy with the Note 4. I have owned every Note. I liked big phones back before it was hip, and I've always liked them. But the Note 4 is less Samsungized than most of the other ones, and really is a nice phone.
Solid.
Yeah. But this is the phone you're always using.
No, this is a different one. You haven't seen this. I got this Friday.
Oh, well, that's what you're always using. Now.
This is the Droid Turbo, but it's like the
Moto
Moto
using
X.
Yeah, that's what
I like I like Motorola. I'm waiting for the Moto 6. Every Wednesday, they put 5 more on sale on the Google Play Store, by the way, so that's good. This time it's sold out faster, I think, than last time. I was there on Wednesday. I was able to get one, but it was like gone immediately. It's bizarre. Larry Page, article, interview with Richard Waters in the Financial Times. Larry is an ambitious fellow, 41 years old, of course, co-founder of Google. He's currently the CEO. And he says that Google's famous mission, which was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful, and they've gone a long way towards that with the search engine, is not big enough for what he now has in mind.
Yeah.
Those are words that should send a chill down the spine, if any.
I don't know, what does he have in mind?
Well, that's the question.
A tube in every house.
To use the money that is spouting from its search advertising business to stake out positions in boom industries of the future, from biotechs to robotics. He says Google needs a new mission statement. I'll tell you, I worry a little bit about somebody like Larry. I think his motives were good. I've met him. I think he's a nice guy, very smart guy. And remember, Google's motto was, don't be evil. But you got to worry.
That fell by the wayside.
Well, they're still not evil. But you got to worry about a guy now who has a lot of ambition, a lot of money, and really nobody's saying no. Remember, he gave that little weird talk at Google I/O in which he said, we wish there were a Google Island with no regulation.
Yeah. And that was also his first big speech after he came back after his vocal surgery, I think. And it was a weird Dr. Evil moment, wasn't it? Because, all he needed was a little fluffy white cat as he talked about his dream of the future. Oh, man.
Self-driving cars is fine. But satellites and I feel like this, I'm getting paranoid. I think it's you. I think you're my influence.
I got nothing to do with it. It's reality setting in.
Is that, you think I'm finally seeing the world for the way it really is?
Yeah, especially.
Well, for instance, he said, given the chance to give up work, 9 out of 10 people wouldn't want to be doing what they're doing today.
That's not probably true.
So the interviewer says, well, what about people who might regret losing their jobs? Once jobs have been rendered obsolete by technology, there's no point wasting time hankering after them, says Page.
Well, he's got a point.
The idea that everyone should slavishly work so they do something inefficiently so they keep their job, that doesn't make any sense. That can't be the right answer. So he says
What's the question?
Well, the question is, people are losing their jobs.
That's not a question.
What are you going to do? So he says, here's the solution. A massive deflation. Stuff is going to be, thanks to technology, so cheap that even if you're out of work, you'll be able to afford it.
Well, I'll be able
massive deflation. That is the worst scenario anyone could want or predict. That's the worst thing in the world to happen to an economy.
Even if there's going to be a disruption on people's jobs, in the short term, that's likely to be made up by the decreasing cost of things we need.
Now, the craziest statement of this entire article was his claim that Palo Alto houses will cost $50,000. And that was, I could see the technology making the front door cheaper,
Right.
But at the end of the day, the scarcity value of that real estate, which will actually be impacted, I think, by self-driving cars. I think that'll...
Not necessarily.
No, but you don't have more houses.
More Palo Alto.
If we go back to the earlier commentary on this show where we discussed the novel where you kill everybody and knock it down to 500,000 people for the entire globe, then the Palo Alto houses will be in.
Right, that's right.
So that's what he's up to.
That's the problem.
He's
going
to kill everybody. People realize this.
But they're going to keep the smart 5%, so Palo Alto will still be crawling with people.
Oh, yeah, but
you smart people in Palo
Petaluma will be cheap. I could have 5 houses up here. He says you can't wish away these things from happening, John. They're going to happen.
They're going to kill us all.
He says there's no way around that, John. You can't wish it away. This is a quote.
He says John?
No, I added that. He's thinking it, though, I'm sure. I understand that, if you think people are unhappy in their work, and I'm sure there are people who would prefer to do something more enjoyable than, I don't know, roofing
work
houses
at the DMV,
or working at the DMV. Or,
although they seem to be enjoying themselves.
But taking away their job is not going to make them happier. Oh, you hate your job? No problem. You're out of work. Is not.
Complainer. Fired.
Yeah, right. But don't worry because phones are now $27.
Although 95% of us did used to be farmers, we all lost those jobs, or our ancestors did. And I think most people would prefer to be doing what it is that they're doing now to subsistence farming, let's
Matthew
say.
McConaughey wanted to be a farmer.
Well, he could if he wants
Then
to.
they made him
Still
an
can.
astronaut.
He still could be.
He still
I think it was the other way around, but yeah, in that movie.
I mean, he doesn't make the redeployment point in here, but my guess is that probably is somewhere in his mind. But, it's really interesting. You think about the self-driving car. How many people drive for a living worldwide between, trucks and delivery?
Not to mention the huge expense in resources having a car per person, or maybe in some cases more than one car per person, whereas if you had self-driving cars, you could have you would never have to own a car.
Or all this wasted space for garages. Exactly.
You do not need to extrapolate the self-driving car into the model he's creating of deflation.
What would be wrong? What's wrong with now? I know massive inflation is wrong. The idea of bringing banknotes to the store in a wheelbarrow
stops production.
Why does that? Because nobody's making any money.
Right, and as the price keeps going down, why are you making this product?
Right.
Well, everybody's waiting for it to get cheaper too, so people don't buy those.
They stop
the
buying.
economy gets understimulated because it's like, well, I know it's going to be.
You end
$5
up with
cheaper next
no
week.
product
Would you
manufacturing.
guys call Larry and explain this to him?
Well, he should just read a book on economy.
Well, that's what
economics.
worries me, because there you go. You got a guy.
I know where he got it from.
He's very bright. He thinks and knows he's smarter than most people. He's got unlimited resources, unlimited funds, unlimited power, and he decides, oh, you know what? Deflation's not so bad. And then we're screwed.
Deflation is the worst thing imaginable. Where did
he get the? You said you know where he got this idea?
Yeah, from Silicon Valley, because Silicon Valley, the manufacturing.
These are stale. You shouldn't be.
I know they're very stale. I don't understand why you have a bunch of them. Silicon Valley, the semiconductor business works on the idea of deflation because today's chip, if you don't use it right now, it's worth less money every day. That's the only industry where this is a fact. It works under a deflationary model.
George Gilder observed that in Microcosm, that this is kind of the upside-down economy where things get cheaper and more efficient as they get smaller.
Only in technology.
Only in technology.
Mm-hmm. And so you internalize that and you think, well, if it works so well with technology, everything should be like that. No, it doesn't work.
But he's right that it is Moore's Law. It's inevitable, is it not?
No, it's not, because you can't take the world of technology and Moore's Law and semiconductors and extrapolate the entire world from that. It's not possible. It's a thing unto itself.
I love it.
It is. It almost seems like every time I hear Larry Page speak, or any of the other techno-libertarian types, right? It's always about squashing inefficiency.
Right.
And what they view as inefficiency, I think for a lot of people, would just be like jobs they like to do, things they like to do.
All humans
gardening.
must die.
Yeah, exactly. That definition of inefficiency, I think, is going to be that's going to be really interesting to watch over time, because that could be Google's new goal, right? Squashing inefficiency, which could be horrifying to a lot of people and things they like to do.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Things will be deflationary to the extent that technology is an important input to them. And certainly technology is a vitally important input to all the gadgets that we have and so forth. But to, making a steak dinner, probably less so. Cows are still grazing. And
cows, smarter, faster, cheaper.
I would guess that somebody at Google is working on cowless meat.
Well, there's modern meadows. I mean, people in tech in general are.
Yum.
It could be yum.
It could be.
No.
Why not? You think you need a cow to make it yum?
Yeah.
Who was that had the synthetic meat?
Modern Meadows, I think, is one of the companies.
Yeah,
and then there was
that name sounds dystopian.
Modern Meadows.
Modern Meadows
Sounds like a spa, doesn't it?
Doesn't sound good.
It does, yeah actually.
And then there was somebody who made a $250,000 hamburger. Yeah. There was like kind of
that's the one I was thinking of. It one of these.
It was
guys.
in the UK, I want to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it was part of one of these companies developing their product.
I'm gonna just look up $250,000 hamburger. I wish we had an Amazon tube here that we could.
Alexa.
Yeah. It was a stem cell burger.
Oh gosh.
Ooh, yum.
Doesn't. Well, but you don't need cows. You just need stem cells.
Right.
The Frankenburger.
The Frankenburger.
It was £250,000.
£250,000.
Understated.
Dollars, pounds. With deflation, it makes
Test
no difference.
tube burger.
It was 5 ounces. Was served up in London to the world's foremost gastronomes. After taking a bite,
how much did this thing weigh that they could serve it to the world's foremost gastronomes?
5 ounces.
Got an ounce.
5 ounces.
We
Each people get it's not even a good bite.
After taking a bite, Austrian food researcher Hanni Rutzler said,
In the right voice.
"That was an intense taste."
that was the taste of $50,000 going down your throat.
But I expected a softer texture. She said, "It's close to meat, but it's not that juicy. But the consistency is perfect."
Huh.
Then Chicago author Josh Schoenwald said, "The absence is the fat. It's a leanness to it, but the bite feels like a conventional hamburger." So Mark Post,
I don't even know for a fact that this wasn't a fraud, a scam.
The burger was pan-fried before being... The guy's holding it. Get your hands off my burger.
Yeah, really. Look
at that. He doesn't even look like he washed his hands.
No,
I want to point out that when they cut that burger into 5 parts, each of those little nibbles was worth a Palo Alto house in the future economy.
There you go. So I got it right. You know who put the money, 215,000 of the 250,000 pounds into this?
Was it Google?
Sergey Brin.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Sergey Brin. So I apparently was channeling that. They are working on cowless meat. The burger's creator was pleased with the result.
Look at that.
So you really want to hear the rest of this? Okay, so the raw ingredients are 5 millimeter thick strips of pinkish yellow lab-grown tissue. Stem cells, in fact. They're cultivated in a nutrient broth. Once they've grown 30 times their original size, they're then combined with an elastic collagen in a culture dish where the cells form into chunks of muscle.
It's probably good for your fingernails.
We're not done. Electrical stimulation is used to make the muscle strips contract and pump up before the thousands of beef strips are minced up together with 200 pieces of lab-grown animal fat and molded into patties.
This will make a great animated
no-brainer.
They're going to need
to see this. Really want to see that GIF.
They're going to need to get the marketing people on each step in that process to come up with a slightly different spin.
I think you're right. Google Burger.
Google Burger.
Oh, well, we poke fun, but I've been reading a lot about the future of food, and meat is a problem.
It's a huge problem. It's totally inefficient.
The abundance of it that we have right now probably won't exist in 20 or 30 years. So we need alternatives, and it's either going to be lab grown or it's going to be like insects or something. I just saw a startup that has energy bars made out of crickets.
Crickets, yeah.
And it's crazy.
Well, they're crunchy. You can say that
They're great.
for them. Yeah.
Rich in protein.
Well, actually, a lot of cultures eat crickets. It's not unusual. Yeah. Good
I'm
protein.
not eating it. I'm not eating crickets. I had a bunch of these cricket things. They came over, so some sample showed my way. All my daughter and her friend and a couple other people, no problem eating this stuff. So they're doomed to it. Okay, fine.
Well,
I'm not eating crickets.
Here's what Modern Meadow says. It takes over 50 gallons of water to make one hamburger.
This is just vegan propaganda.
No, because they're
going
to make cultured leather and meat products which require no animals.
Yes, that's what. Does that sound vegan to you?
Toxic solid waste represents 70% of the wet waste in the world. A third of all available land globally is used for livestock production. It takes 75 square feet of land to make one hamburger. Anyway,
Yeah. We wonder how
It's a problem.
The world.
It's
We
not
wonder
a
how the world
problem.
fell apart in Interstellar. It's all burgers, right?
Yeah.
It's all the cows.
It's all the cows.
That's really what it is. I do wonder. You bring up the vegans, though. I wonder how will vegans feel when we have like perfect meat substitutes, and they go for it. Is that hypocritical? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
No, why would it be?
That's good because nothing died, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know a couple of vegans.
Okay, you're a vegan, Chris, right? Or a vegetarian? Okay.
Big difference.
Well, let's say he's a vegan. So what?
Can't do that. Let's say he's a vegan. Okay, let's say he's a vegan.
Let's say he's a vegan.
Let's say you're a vegan.
I'm a vegan. No, but close. Vegetarian, vegan. I don't know what the difference is. You eat eggs.
Yes. A vegan would never eat eggs.
Okay, fine. I wouldn't eat eggs for other reasons. But anyway.
You don't eat eggs?
I love eggs. So if we made the meat products in a lab with no animals involved, that you would eat that, right? What's the difference between that and tofu?
He says no.
He says no.
I say no, but I am not one of the people with moral problems with meat. I think meat is gross, and growing something in a lab.
Well, this is definitely gross.
Oh, that's different.
He doesn't eat meat because it's gross.
I know
All
people
right.
that won't eat meat because they're disgusted by it. They don't like it for some reason. But that's not a political reason, which is a vegan's always, it's all political.
Okay. Let's take a break. Come back with more. We've got John C.
Yeah, this
Dvorak.
is very techie.
We've got Devindra Hardawar. No, it is techie.
Vegans we're
No,
talking
making
about now.
meat is, and we're talking about Google and the fact that Google has
you're right,
ambitions.
you're right.
Ambitions beyond that of mortal men. They want to go places. They want to take the world places. Maybe we don't want to go.
They want to kill us all. That's I think. I think that is the takeaway from
Well,
this.
if you had to come down with a single problem that the whole world, it's people.
Yeah.
There's 6 billion people. If there were 1 billion people, no problem.
The Earth can sustain 6 billion people quite easily. In fact, it's doing it.
It's doing it right now. But, you got global warming. You got issues.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
You got problems.
Yeah.
Watch Interstellar. It's like dusty.
You saw it?
Very dusty, yes. The future is very dusty. It's not good.
Well, this place needs a little cleaning up itself.
It's dusty.
Yeah.
So you get rid of the extra people. Nature will do it if we don't. Right?
Not necessarily. What a grim view you have.
I think that's exactly what happens.
I'm like the up-tempo guy. I'm like the positive, the optimist on the table.
So what do you think's going to happen?
Nothing. Nothing ever happens.
We're just going to go along like this.
Yes.
You say basically we're Malthusians. We're confused.
I wouldn't have used that word, but I'll use it now.
I like the word, though. Don't you like that?
That's a great word.
Yeah, it's a good word.
Let's not look at the history of massive empires, right? Nothing ever went wrong there.
Right.
Ever.
May come and go.
No, the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire,
goes.
the Persian Empire, Microsoft. It's all the same.
They're here. They're there.
They come, they go. There's a cycle.
Yeah, you read out Arnold Toynbee. 12 volumes, you'll get
Toynbee. But he said it was geographic.
No, he didn't.
It was climate related.
No. No, he never said any of that.
He didn't? Somebody else sold
Diamond.
It was a cycle of civilization, growth cycle, death cycle, and he had the whole thing. He just essentially mapped it out.
But didn't Toynbee say part of the issue is people who live in warm climates have no ambition?
No. This is a Huntington, maybe.
All right. I misread my Toynbee.
You never read Toynbee.
I read Toynbee.
No.
No?
No.
Oh. I thought I was reading Toynbee. It said Toynbee on the cover.
Yeah? What's his first name?
Alfred.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You didn't read Toynbee. Maybe Alfred Kroeber. That would be the Alfred, maybe.
Albert? It was Al something, wasn't it?
Just call me Al.
Al Toynbee.
Al Toynbee. That's
Al
what it was.
Toynbee very well. Was it George?
Arnold.
Arnold. I knew it began with an A.
Well, it wasn't an Al.
But it wasn't an Al. It was an A. Arnold Toynbee.
I think it's time for a commercial.
Now the chat room is calling me a Malthusian. Our show today brought to you by, you know what?
I think the word Mal is appropriate, but we don't have the Thusian part.
I'm not a Thusian. You know what is never will change and never changes is the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah, no, I heard this.
Since the days of Ben Franklin, it's really pretty much you go in, you buy a stamp, you affix the stamp to a postcard, to a letter, to a package.
And it
you
gets there.
give the package to a person who then does some magic and it gets to the place where it's going. That's the cloud, by the way, is what happens inside the post office. That's the cloud. You know what I'm saying?
I think you should read the copy.
You feel I'm going down
I don't know where you're going.
a path that is perhaps not going to be too fruitful?
He's not going to get me a cup of coffee.
I'll tell you where I'm going with this. Do you want to go get a cup of coffee?
No, I'm just saying.
All right. I'll tell you where I'm going with this. You don't need to do the go to the post office part, the affixing the stamp to the letter part. You still got all the benefit of the Postal Service, the delivery across the country, anywhere, across the world. But you print the stamps. Now, this sounds odd. This sounds dangerous. This sounds scary. With your computer and your printer, you log onto a website, you buy the stamps, you print them, or better yet, forget stamps. Print them right on the envelope with your company logo, the return address, the recipient's address. You got a package? No problem. You get that USB scale, you plop it on there, and it automatically gets you exactly the right postage. It even will recommend what kind of mail you should use. You know, is this, maybe this is, you could save money, use medium mail or first class mail or third class, whatever. It'll even fill out the forms for you. The computer is so smart. It says, this is international. Let me fill out those customs forms for you. You want certified mail? I can do that. I'll even send an email to the recipient automatically. Return receipt. With one push of the button, you can get automatic address verification, postage discounts you can't get at the post office, even discounted package insurance. Boom, boom, like that. This is the modern way to mail stuff. Now, this is not for somebody that once a year sends out Christmas cards. This is for somebody for whom mail is a business, whether you sell on Amazon or eBay or Etsy. Boy, you really ought to be using Stamps.com. If you're a business that sends out bills or mailers or, brochures, you got to be using Stamps. We use Stamps.com. Stamps.com. I want you to try it, and it's easy to do. If you visit Stamps.com, click the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. You got to go to the homepage. There you go. And enter our offer code TWIT, and you're going to get this amazing deal. You get the scale. Just pay shipping handling. It's $5. You get a $5 activity kit. That kind of makes up for it. You get a month Stamps.com. You even get $55 in postage coupons you can use on Stamps.com for the first few months. I think this is a great deal. Stamps.com. Click the microphone. You don't have to take my word for it, but you will love it. If you do a lot of mailing, Stamps.com, eliminate those trips to the post office. Let them do what they do best.
Why do you have two accounts?
We have one for the front desk and one for the back.
Reminds me of the Irish joke.
What Irish joke?
The Irish joke.
I don't know that one.
Irishman finds a genie.
Yeah.
Comes out of the bottle and he says, I grant you 3 wishes.
Yep.
He says, well, that's great. I think I'll, to start off, have a glass of Guinness.
Oh, nice wish.
So he gives him a glass of Guinness. He says, I'll go you one better. Guinness shows up.
Yeah.
The Irishman drinks the Guinness, puts it down, it refills itself.
Yeah.
Drinks it, it just refills itself continually. And the genie says, what would you like for your next 2 wishes? The guy says, awesome. 2 more of these.
Is it for me?
The Amazon Echo will tell you jokes. Did you know that?
I bet it will.
Yeah, let me see. I think I have some here. Okay, here we go. Wait a minute. This is...
Tell me another joke.
A black guy, a Jew, and a prostitute walk into a bar.
Did you know that?
This is from the parody.
Oh, that's the parody. I confused those two.
I was about to buy one of those things.
You create a joke-telling device.
It actually does tell you, like, bad jokes, like knock-knock jokes. Knock-knock jokes. I am excited about this. We've talked before about Twitter and the problem, especially women have with abuse on Twitter. It just really is out of control. And Twitter has teamed up with a nonprofit group called Women Action in the Media, WAM. And they've created a form on WAM for people to report abuse and harassment. But Twitter, I think we had lambasted them a little bit for paying a little bit less attention to this all than they ought to. But apparently they have worked with WAM to create this tool. And it specifically says, do you fear for your personal safety? Have you reported this to Twitter already? Are you being harassed by a single person or multiple people? Are you being doxxed? What kind of harassment? Hate speech, revenge porn, that kind of thing. And then it works directly with Twitter to resolve the issue. Now, it remains to be seen whether, what Twitter's commitment to respond to this is. But WAM did this last year with Facebook, and I think it was pretty effective. And apparently WAM has approached Twitter, and they have been receptive. So I'm hopeful that this... Now, admittedly, men get, harassed on Twitter as well. I don't think it's the same problem, though. I think it's really an issue with women being harassed on Twitter.
You don't have to be on Twitter.
Why shouldn't I be able to walk down any dark alley I choose?
You'd call Twitter a dark... Is that your opinion of Twitter?
Twitter's a dark alley, man. Do not go down it alone.
You don't have to go down dark alleys either.
I'm not a fan.
The internet is, for sure.
Yeah.
At times.
Twitter, though, I have to say, okay, I know I'm going to beat a dead horse because I talk about this a lot, but it seems to me that Twitter, in its nature, has really encouraged the drive-by, the just grotesque, abusive stuff, and has not done a lot, in my opinion, to stop it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Twitter has enjoyed so much success, right? Because it is this instant platform to communicate with all sorts of people. And it's shocking that it's taken until now for them to actually do something about all the harassment. This isn't the first time. We've been hearing about this forever, I feel like, since Twitter started.
Yeah, I think Gamergate really brought it into the forefront and a lot of attention on that. And really, you don't see that same level of harassment on Google Plus, on Facebook, and other places. They seem to be.
Because nobody's there, right? Nobody's on Google Plus.
Well,
but Facebook, yeah.
But Facebook, I think even Facebook controls it a lot better.
Well, there's a lot more inherent self-policing because people generally are who they say they are on Facebook. And
that's a good start.
Saying really, really horrifying things that people might say on Twitter is got a huge social cost if you've got your actual account. And if you're a feigned person, you're not going to be connected to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like both the dream and the nightmare of the internet exists in Twitter.
No,
right?
that's a good point.
That's what it is. It's the best and worst for me, at least.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, and people always say this to me, but what about all the good that Twitter's done with the Arab Spring and so forth? And I do support free speech, but I don't know. I feel like there seems to be there's got to be a better way, some middle ground between absolute free speech and this. The FTC has slapped the wrist of a patent troll. J. Mac Rust. There he is in his cowboy gear. Good-looking fella. He's the guy who sent out 9,000 patent demand letters to companies that have scanners that scan to email. He says, I own the patent to that, and I want you to pay a royalty of $1,000 per employee for every network scanner in your business.
So he wasn't going after the makers, he was going after those who bought them?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy escalation.
Yeah, and he's a lawyer, he's in Texas. He's often held up as the example of how patent trolling can really be out of control.
I mean, he needs more saddles, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
There's a good looking. How does he sleep at night? You got. I mean, this is right on the edge.
I think he takes the hat off to start.
Well, that would be and the buckle.
Yeah, and the buckle. Yeah.
Well, you don't know that.
I don't know that.
Anyway, Rust was sued, of course. FTC started investigating. He countersued the FTC. That lawsuit got thrown out. Now the Rust and his firm MPHJ Technology have settled with the FTC. Finally, a patent troll gets his comeuppance.
And what was that?
Well, he and his lawyers are barred from making misleading or unsubstantiated representations in any letters they send out from now on.
Boy, that'll show him.
Yeah, that did it.
That's it. No fine. That's it. You shouldn't make any misleading or unsubstantiated representations anymore.
None of this would even exist if it wasn't for software patents and process patents. They're bull crap.
Right.
They should have just pulled the plug on that. We wouldn't have any of these
remember,
issues.
Congress has been trying to pass a law unsuccessfully. The Supreme Court, we thought, might have changed this a little bit with one of their most recent decisions overturning a patent based kind of on a process, a computer process. And of course, the last resort is the Federal Trade Commission and the Bureau of Consumer Protection. But boy, that doesn't seem like that's going to even put these guys out of business, let alone.
Do you think Nathan Myhrvold is a patent troll?
Yeah. Microsoft millionaire, probably billionaire, who knows?
Billionaire, yeah.
He had an interesting idea, founded a company called, what was it?
Intellectual Ventures.
Intellectual Ventures.
Yes.
A.k.a. Patent Troll. And the idea was they were going to buy up a lot of patents and protect the creators of those patents by
I never heard that
licensing it out.
That they were going to protect anybody.
Protect them.
Oh,
Get
there's
them
this
their money.
Great farcical tale that they told about one particular person who licensed them a patent But yeah, they market the notion that they're on the side of the small inventor who's up against these big mammoth corporations that just want to screw him.
Right. Or anybody who uses a scanner to send email,
for instance,
would be another example. So Electronic Frontier Foundation says, while we are encouraged by the FTC's work, this is one action against a single troll. We need broader reform, and of course we do. Nobody's yelling at the FTC, but boy, it seems like they could have done more here. Nebraska and Vermont are still suing. Oh, and by the way, so is Xerox, Ricoh, and HP. So,
what's this?
What's that? That is, I believe, that is Pixel Conduit.
And what is it?
Well, it's probably a little too complicated for you.
Might be, but what is it?
Wouldn't understand.
You can just tell me.
It has to do with video compositing and post-production.
It's an editor.
No. Far from it, my friend. It's a conduit.
Yeah, it's a conduit.
It isn't an editor. You attach effects, and it's Alex Lindsay digital. Oh, this isn't this. Do we use Pixel Conduit? I know Alex Lindsay uses.
Oh, I got a thing on the back here.
Yeah, a little droid. So that's a studio computer we pulled for Mr. Dvorak.
Yeah, and I clicked on this thing thinking it was a browser or whatever this is.
Do we use that?
You don't even know that you use Pixel Conduit.
No idea. Why?
You've just completely lost control of the whole operation.
And I was sitting here for the last hour and a half thinking you were like a hardcore Android fanboy because of the sticker on the back.
It's not even his computer. It's like,
wow.
Not even his computer.
It's Jason's.
Jason's? Is that your old computer?
It's my old computer.
Well, then you must know what Pixel Conduit does.
No, I actually have no idea. I do think that was Alex from MacBreak.
There's sliders.
I think Alex
must have been.
Yeah, I think it's a DV Garage kind of a thing. We knew this would happen, but speaking of court actions, and if you haven't heard this, you should know. The unlocking your phone issue, if you have locked your phone with a passcode that's in your mind, it is widely considered by constitutional experts to be private because they're not allowed to get you to testify against yourself.
They can
giving up the password.
Pull out a few fingernails and you can get it.
Well, that would be torture, and I think we frown on that as well.
Well, I don't know that.
You could waterboard them, but just gently. No, they're not allowed to. That would be self-incrimination.
That would seem so.
Yeah. However, a Virginia Beach Circuit Court judge, Stephen Frucci, has ruled that a criminal defendant can be compelled to give up his fingerprint to unlock his cell phone in the course of a criminal investigation.
Yeah, you just grab his hand.
Because it's just like a DNA sample or even a physical key that you would have in your pocket. You can be legally compelled to give that to police. You cannot give up a passcode because that's considered knowledge and protected by the Fifth Amendment, the right against self-incrimination. So we suspected this. The reason it's germane is if you have an iPhone and you use Touch ID to lock it, you could be compelled to unlock it. So the advice is to...
If arrested.
If arrested.
Yeah.
Well, even if stopped.
I mean, they were taking those California Highway Patrolmen were stealing photos from...
he got fired, thank God.
Well, there was a whole bunch of them. He said
it was common practice.
Scapegoat, yes. He was a scapegoat.
He was taking naked pictures of women that he pulled over for traffic stops.
Well, he wasn't taking the picture. He was
taking them from the phone.
Right. And apparently the CHP does this.
He said, it's a widespread practice.
Yeah, it's got to be good. You think guys are bored? It's like a trading. It's like trading baseball cards.
That's kind of what he implied. But on the other hand, that might have been self-serving. Maybe he just didn't want to get it.
I don't know.
He got fired.
We'd have to do it.
He's facing felony charges. But he said...
he'll get off.
Yeah.
So he just pulled over a lot of people who have
a lot of women, good-looking women,
naked pictures of themselves.
Well, he would say, "May I take your phone?"
And he would look to see if there were naked pictures.
And he would go through the pictures, and if he found them, he'd mail them to himself or text them to himself.
Yeah, and then he would have.
And she's sitting there looking at her outbox.
Yeah. Well, that's how he got caught.
Yeah.
Harrington.
It went on for years before somebody did that. By the way. Looked at their outbox.
Yeah. CHP officer Sean Harrington is accused of this. He says. He admitted he stole explicit photos from the phones of up to 1/2 dozen arrestees Search warrant documents detail text messages sent between them between CHP officers, like, her body is rockin', or taken from the phone of my 10 to 15X while she's in X-rays. Enjoy, buddy.
Bored cops.
Yeah. But this raises the issue, of course, look, there's a certain amount of bad apples in any business, and that raises the issue of you have protections against police officers. But the problem is, if you're in their custody, it's going to be hard to say, no, officer, I will not.
Yeah, you don't want to be taken into the, what do you call it? The headquarters, not the head, but the
paddy wagon.
So EFF had mentioned this. We had mentioned this, I think, when Apple announced Touch ID. You should know, or if you have a Galaxy Note or a Galaxy S5 or an HTC One Max, these all have fingerprint readers. You should know, if you're locking the phone with a fingerprint, that in fact they have the right to, if you've been arrested, to compel you to unlock it.
What if you do it with your left hand forefinger and you keep pushing the right? This thing
doesn't work.
This thing has not worked for the last week.
See, I was thinking about that too. So the knowledge they can't get out of your head, your finger they can press it to. What if you just don't tell them which finger does it?
I know which finger.
I know
but
which
you
finger
don't.
I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
Right. It's
well,
kinda
there's only
crossing
10. I think if you have to use your toes to
that
really
would probably
pull
go
this
right
off.
to the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court has never ruled on this issue specifically, but there was a case in 1966 where a defendant was compelled to give up a blood sample. And the court ruled that, quote, the Fifth Amendment offers no protection against compulsion to submit to fingerprinting. This is kind of the same, right? So you're not protected, just so you know. Now, one thing to know is that if you turn off your iPhone, when you turn it back on, it will say you have to enter the passcode and you're protected, even if Touch ID is enabled. That's just a thing Apple built in. So you have to enter the password. Similarly, if you haven't used Touch ID in 48 hours, so I can't remember who this was, the counsel of somebody was, okay, you get your attorney to slow the process down as much as he can, and 2 days from now, they need the Touch ID won't work. You're used to being an attorney, right?
No.
Never?
Nope.
Come on.
Never?
Don't deny it. When did you
I
stop
went to business school.
Okay.
I didn't go to law school.
I can't wait to see The Good Wife use this plot point.
Oh, they will too. You know they will, right?
Yeah.
It's great stuff. Anyway, it's a good thing to know. We're going to take a break and come back and talk about breach fatigue. Okay. A new study out by the highly regarded Pony-Mon Institute.
This is a joke, right?
No. Breach fatigue has set in with consumers. But first, I hope you're not fatigued with our advertisers, because they're fabulous people and they deserve every bit of your attention. Like, for instance, ZipRecruiter, who really did us a very nice service, ZipRecruiter.com. The problem is when you are hiring somebody to fill a job, there are lots of places you can go on the internet to post a job, but which one is the best? And do you want to go to all of them? Well, with ZipRecruiter, you don't have to worry. You go to ZipRecruiter.com. You post to 50-plus job boards with a single submission, including, by the way, Twitter and LinkedIn and Craigslist and Facebook. So you get all the social recruiting. One post to 50-plus job boards. And then the great thing is they don't call you. They don't email you. Their applications are sent back into the ZipRecruiter system where you can easily scan them, screen them, very simply find the right people and hire them right away. It really is the fastest, easiest way. We use it, and it's great. I want you to try it. Right now, we've got 4 days free. And the way this works, that may be enough for you to find that right person, absolutely no cost. ZipRecruiter.com. You can create customized email responses, a job page you put right on a branded job page you put right on your website that uses ZipRecruiter to screen them. It's just fabulous. ZipRecruiter.com. If you go there right now at ZipRecruiter.com/twit, you get 4 days free. Look at all the businesses that have used ZipRecruiter, and we should have the Twit logo on there. ZipRecruiter.com/twit. We thank them for their support. Where did John go? He wanders off, you know.
He's getting more licorice, I think.
This is really...
It's stale, yeah. I devoured what that was.
Snap?
Yeah, it snapped. Yeah. It's shattered.
That is really stale. When you can get red vines to just shatter by tapping them, that's not good.
It's gorilla licorice. It's very hard to scratch. But it's brittle as hell.
Science.
Yeah.
How you doing, Devindra? You okay? You hanging in there?
Doing good.
You don't have breach fatigue, I hope.
No, but I having worked in IT, I can understand why people they just don't pay attention. You can warn them as much as you can, but nobody listens. It doesn't really matter
I'll
until
give you
it
an
affects
example.
them.
So Home Depot, which had what was the number? It was some huge number of accounts had been compromised in the Home Depot system, like 56 million. I think.
Into the tens of millions.
Yeah. They just announced that, and by the way, we also got like 50 million email addresses leaked out. Sorry about that. I mean, it's not as bad as your credit card, but it's not good. So we're seeing all of these breaches at Target and Home Depot. So the RSA did a study conducted by the Ponemon Institute. 1,000 consumer respondents. Half of them have been the victim of a breach. I think that's a low number. I would bet everybody here has in some way been. I mean, haven't you all had a credit card misused or gotten a new one from your bank saying, well, we don't know, but maybe you should try a new number? That happened to me. Everybody. I would say that's got to be closer to 100%. Anyway, 14% of these people reported they care enough about privacy that a data breach at an institution they do business with would affect their future business, banking or shopping behavior. In other words, they're saying, no big deal. Only 14% said they wouldn't go back there. While the majority say they do care about privacy, 23% says privacy has absolutely no influence over our behaviors or perceptions of a company. Well, you know what? I like Home Depot. I'm going to keep buying my lumber there. The 49% reported they're still shopping online, but they are using credit cards instead of debit cards. I don't know if that's really much of a big deal. But it's
a myth.
This study really.
I think it's the credit card companies that developed this myth.
Well, that the debit card is less.
Yeah.
Well, it used to be that like
you're doing
some
a
years
favor
ago,
to the supplier when you use a debit card,
because there's less of a vigorish.
Right.
The VIG is lower on a debit.
Yeah.
card.
So small businesses always use debit.
And it used to be, I think in years past, many years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that there wasn't a limit to your losses on debit cards, but there is now a $50 limit to your losses.
And most and that never happens. I had this happen to me a couple of times.
They'll back it up.
Yeah, they just
say, sorry. This happens all the time. We've got breach fatigue.
Yes.
That's what they're calling this, is breach fatigue, where consumers, they keep hearing about these breaches and they go, screw it, I don't care.
You don't have a problem if you just use cash.
Or Apple Pay, as it turns out.
Yeah, right now. That's not going to last.
Actually, it's interesting. Google Wallet is showing a increase in use thanks to Apple Pay. I think I'm one of them. I never used the Touch and Pay. I've always had it. And in fact, it's always been available to the same people now who are offering Apple Pay. I could have always used it. It's that logo that looks like the guy eating a piece of fish. You know what I'm talking about?
Apple did a better job of, marketing this than Google ever did, or any of Google's partners. Yeah.
And as far as I know, Google...
guy eating a piece of fish?
Yeah, you see that logo?
That to you looks like a guy eating a piece of fish.
Yeah, it's a plate, and there's fish bones on it, and then there's a guy...
eating.
And he's grabbing a little bit of the fish. Probably the last... Am I wrong?
Yeah. It's nuts.
Looks just like that.
It looks exactly, now that you mention it.
I'm just saying.
Is that the official logo of...
Yeah, that's the official...
Poke and pay, we like.
Have some fish.
Have a nice piece of fish.
Buy fish.
It's fresh. You're going to like it. No, that's part of the problem, because the Apple Pay has a nice apple and pay, and you kind of know what it is. But this, you get this, and that you can use Google Wallet with that.
That's the Google Wallet.
That's the Google
logo.
Wallet logo.
Got it. Yeah, particularly popular at seafood restaurants. Yeah.
This is, by the way, this image is from Google. Oh well. Have you ever used a tap and pay solution, Devindra?
Oh yeah, ever since Apple Pay went live in New York, it's so good because the pharmacies we have everywhere, Dwayne Reid, it's the easiest thing to just wave your phone, hold down your finger, and keep moving. And the thing about Google Wallet though is actually using it is not as fast as Apple Pay. So even though more people are using it, the actual experience isn't that great.
I haven't used either. I don't understand what Apple Pay because I've seen a lot of videos. What do you do with Google Wallet? Do you have to enter a PIN?
I think it's different for every phone. When I used it was a password, I think.
Okay. So I have Google Wallet, and on But the other problem was that Verizon and other cell carriers were blocking it for a long time because they had
They
their
killed
own.
it, yeah.
They had their own solution. But now this is a Verizon phone, and while it does have soft card, which is the new name for ISIS.
ISIS?
The Islamic insurgency has changed their name to soft card?
Yes.
Huh.
The name.
That's interesting.
They're going for a kinder, gentler
sort of, yeah.
The name of the original wallet created by Verizon and its partners was ISIS.
Okay, that makes sense.
Branding issue, yep.
Recently, they changed it to soft card. We don't know why.
Soft card.
So I have soft card on here, but I also have Google Wallet, and I can enable now. All of a sudden, I can not only work Google Wallet, but I can enable tap and pay. So when I see the fish, I tap it. I think it asks for a PIN because I have a Google Wallet PIN. So I think it's just because
it'd be just like you do with your debit card. You have a PIN.
Yeah, it's not so bad. I mean, okay, it'd be nice if I had Touch ID. I could do the fingerprint. I should try this on the Galaxy Note. I bet you the Galaxy Note's fingerprint reader works the same way as Apple.
I would bet you it doesn't.
I would bet you it does.
I would bet you a crisp $1 bill that it doesn't.
Fish dinner.
Well, the fish dinners.
Even if it doesn't work, it's not as reliable like as Touch ID. And sorry,
I think that's that
could be a myth.
I don't know. I think it's the same technology. It's still the Eurocard, MasterCard, Visa solution.
Right.
The EMV solution.
It's harder. I'm talking about the fingerprint part.
I agree with you.
Nobody else can get fingerprint sensing.
That doesn't work?
No, because Apple bought the company, Authentech, that does the Touch ID stuff, and nobody else can use it now. So Apple, it's really nice. You just kind of put your finger on it, kind of lazy-like, and it goes, okay. On every other thing, it's like with the Lenovo. Remember the old Lenovos that had fingerprint?
Yeah.
You have to slide your finger down. If you don't do it just right, it'll say, oh, your finger's tilted. And you go, okay.
On the Samsung phones, it feels like you're sliding your finger down the flat edge of a knife, which is it's not great user experience.
Yeah,
It
they
doesn't
don't want
feel
you to
good.
spend too much. It's kind of a disincentive. So Ars Technica is talking to somebody at Google. They say they have seen a 50% increase in weekly transactions in Google Wallet. And new users have doubled.
Is there numbers or just they went from 10 to 20?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a question. We don't know. And Apple's not saying either, by the way, how many Apple Pay transactions there have been. All they said is they've got 1 million cards. 1 million people signed up. Okay.
That's it.
That's all I got to say about that. Silk Road 2 already busted.
Oh.
I know. It's so hard to get OxyContin these days. It's just... So
you can always get it in Florida.
This hidden site has been seized, says ICE.
Why does it say this hidden site?
Well, because...
Why does it say this site?
Because Silk Road's hidden. You have to go through Tor to get to it.
Fine, but why do they have to bright? Oh, it's hidden, but we found it. It's not very well hidden, it seems to me.
I wonder who does this design.
Some jokers, the guys. I got a good one
This
here.
hidden site has been seized. And they arrested the guy who created Silk Road 2. It didn't take long.
Less than a year.
Yep. And apparently they had infiltrated it almost immediately. 26-year-old Blake Benthall of San Francisco is now accused of running.
There's always somebody in San Francisco.
That's where it is, man.
And what he did with his ill-gotten gains.
That's where the action is.
That's where it's happening, man.
He bought a Tesla.
Did he?
That's the only thing that he really seemed to have bought. Yeah.
So Tor, I think.
So in other words, so the government will seize the Tesla and put it on sale at one of these auctions. We
might get a deal
up there. Yeah.
Look for a
Could
cheap
be like
Tesla.
20 grand or something. Get a nice Tesla.
Do we want to talk about the CBS journalist who says she was hacked, but maybe it was just a stuck delete key? No.
Stuck delete key. I'm hacked. I'm hacked. Everything I type goes away.
I don't want to get into the story here because it's an elaborate story. And by the way, Ars Technica has a very good article. Cheryl Atkinson.
Looks like a typo, doesn't it? Her name?
Atkinson. At ATTKISSON.
She's got a book out. She's selling books.
She's got a book. The book is how
her delete key just got locked the whole time she was writing it.
It's not working.
And CBS says we hired a cybersecurity. Anyway, she recorded with her camera phone somebody taking remote control. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah, from the
remote
key.
control of her Mac.
That's a stuck. That's exactly what it looks like.
Or a known bug in Microsoft Word, as a matter of fact. We're not sure which, but she says, "Look,
poltergeist.
They're hacking me."
Poltergeist.
I get calls from
So the
women
scrolling is going on, or is she doing the scrolling? Who's doing the scrolling?
stuck delete key.
That doesn't make sense.
This is kind of like a UFO picture, right? I mean, you can't see what's going on.
She claims
She's in the media. She's a very famous media person. Why can't she go horizontal with this video?
Get a little lighting in there, right? Yeah, this is...
She claims it's President Obama doing it.
No, she doesn't.
She does. Okay. Or people working for him.
Working for the government.
Working for the government.
Looking at my computer.
I'm kind of shocked that you and Adam haven't gone into greater detail on this story. It's a good story.
It's a story that we won't do because it's dumb.
Yeah. Taylor Swift is giving up streaming music. Well, not really, actually.
She's giving more publicity for Taylor Swift. This is what we talked about this on today's No Agenda show, by the way.
I knew you would.
Because
I have $5, please.
Because she is going to, in my opinion, I'll say it again, she will end up being the richest celebrity in the history of entertainment. Boy, those are stale. Wow.
Taylor Swift is a nice young lady.
She is the promotional queen.
She's really good at social media. Look at that.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a knife edge.
I'm really sorry to the people listening to the show.
Well, you weren't banging the mic.
No. So I think Taylor Swift is very smart. She's very effective in using social media. I follow her on Instagram.
It'd be better if she could sing. I'm sorry to all the Taylor Swift fans out there.
And talented artist.
Yeah.
But she does say that, and I think this is good.
This was her last, this was another publicity stunt right at the end of her series of publicity.
For the new album, 1989.
Yeah, and this is the end.
She did not, by the way, take it off RDO. No, you created this whole business with Rhapsody.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Has Taylor called you and yelled at you?
She direct messaged me.
Did she really?
No, she didn't.
She says, and I think this is true, she says, it took 2 years of my life to make this album.
Here we go.
And I'm not willing to contribute my life's work to an experiment, streaming music that I don't feel...
It's 2 years. Okay, go on.
That I don't feel fairly compensates the writers, producers, artists, and creators of
music.
She's
got that right.
And this is what I actually, I kind of agree with her on this. I just don't agree with perpetuating the perception that music has no value and should be free. Now, of course, you pay for a Spotify account. It's $10 a month. What was Rhapsody when it first started?
$10 a month.
You set the price. That was it.
Yeah, we set the price.
Did you do research like if we were 15 or 5?
No, we basically got the deals that we were the first people to get deals with all 5. There were then 5 major record labels. And we set the price that we could set it for given the prices that we had from them. So, 10 is a nice round number. I think everybody felt fine about that. But there really, the calculus that we went through way back then, and when we knew it was going to be decades before overwhelming numbers of people used a streaming service like ours for music, but it was like, the estimate was about 200 million Americans buy some music some of the time.
Right.
And our feeling was...
Say that number again?
About 200 million.
200 million.
Of the 300 million.
That's a lot.
Would buy a CD once a year. So this is
2 out of 3 people buy music.
Buy some music was the statistic.
And this was in the 80s.
This was when we started the service in 2002.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so this is post-Napster, right?
80s, 2002. I was close.
Yeah.
No.
And so this is Rhapsody. This is basically the VisiCalc of Spotify, right? We kind of pioneered this model. And so the thinking was, if you got those people to pay $10 a month for a much better thing, not just the occasional, everything, you've actually doubled the size of the music industry, because that would be $24 billion a year. And at the time, American music sales were about $10, $11 billion.
You can talk now. How much of that does a record label get?
Well, a significant majority of it goes to the labels. And the artists have... in many cases, complained very vociferously and articulated that they're not seeing any of it.
Yeah, but labels have been ripping off artists for years.
And that's the issue. And I think that there's been a lot of people blaming the streaming services, saying Spotify's evil because,
I get no money.
I get no money. And there are outlandish stories. They say it was played this many millions of times and I got $1. That's actually on the labels. Yeah. Because an enormous amount of money, I don't know exactly what Spotify's deals are, but they haven't changed that much really since the earliest days of Rhapsody. And about 3 years ago, the deals were virtually unchanged. And the overwhelming majority of the money that we took in went to the labels. And if it's not being shared equitably with the artists, then it's going MIA.
Lady Gaga said a couple of years ago, I got 1 million plays of my latest song. I earned $167 on Spotify.
Yeah. And I'm sure somebody was paid quite a bit more than that.
That's the key.
Yeah.
The money is so... And that's what Pandora, by the way, Tim Westergren's always said at Pandora, we pay a huge amount of money to the record labels.
They pay even more than the radio stations do, in terms of what they're. What was the quote? How many plays did she get?
She says 1 million plays, $167.
Well, probably something in the neighborhood. A penny a play is a common number for deals, and this was a while ago too, a couple of years ago.
2
right?
years ago, yeah.
Yeah. So probably
poker face.
Probably 10 grand went back to her label. And somehow they did math that said we keep 99%, you get 1%.
Gaga, you get 1%.
You get 1%, literally. So there's leakage in there, but my feeling is it's on the label side.
And the labels have been ripping our artists for years. So
Time
this
immemorial.
This is not anything new. I guess the real question is and we know that users, you were right, love this. They didn't love Rhapsody maybe right out of the box.
Some of them did. I mean, the people, early adopters who got the idea, like all of a sudden, wow, instead of having this sliver of 1% of all the music in the world on my wall that I have to buy a la carte, $15 an album, I can have all of it for $10 a month.
Right.
Early adopters got it and loved it. And to this day, I hear from folks that were early users of Rhapsody. And Rhapsody still has 1 million subs, so it's good. Something out there.
It's bigger than Beats.
It's hopefully it'll remain that.
It's bigger than Beats, but Rdio, Spotify.
There's a bunch of things
Google's
out there.
gotten this business, and I like Google Music.
Yeah.
All Access, they call it, and it's the same. It's roughly the same 20 million songs.
Similar idea,
except not Taylor Swift on Spotify. But I think you're right; it's more publicity.
Well, for her.
For her. Yeah. On the other hand, I don't disagree with her position.
She's not going to make any money anyway, one way or the
I ought to get paid
other.
for my music,
and I don't disagree with that in any way, shape, or form. People should. And people, particularly if people are throwing down $10 a month, month after month, year after year.
We assume we're paying money, so somebody's getting that.
Yeah.
And I guess this is the interesting takeaway for me. The labels, the artists, presumably, and you felt that $10 a month was going to be a bigger pot of money for everybody involved than the people were buying.
Yeah, if you straight lined it out and you said, look, we've been through as an industry 7 or 8, platform transitions. There were, spinning cylinders and then 78s and 45s and 8-track and cassette. Eventually, if this is the endpoint format that we're going to, and the price is $10 a month and it delivers unbelievable value, it was relatively simple math to say the pie should grow.
Right.
It grew with CDs. It should grow again. But it's a long transition. I mean, all of these services collectively only have a few million subscribers in the United States.
Is there a better solution? Trent Reznor did an interview with Billboard. He said, I'm working with Apple. He's who knew this, the creative guy behind Beats.
Well, he was the chief creative officer.
Smart, because he never took the limelight, so everybody thinks of Dre and Ivy.
Yeah.
But he apparently is working with Apple. He says it's surround music. I can't talk about what it is. But I got the strong impression it's about streaming and it's about making it more equitable for artists. And there's room to do
his
that.
quote was, there is a model that can work. Like it was there's a pony in there someplace.
Right.
And he felt that, and the fact is, yes, if a mass market of people are paying $10 a month for music, or $8.99 or whatever it is, and that is shared equitably, that industry should be larger than the CD industry was at its pinnacle in 1999 when, everybody was swimming in money.
Well, and we know we have to solve that because, according to the RIAA, music sales are off 14% in the first half of the year.
First-time downloads are down, and down a ton.
iTunes says the same thing, 13%.
13.
That's not good.
No, it's terrible.
People aren't buying music. They are listening to Spotify.
Well, if they transition over to the streaming services, then those dollars will be captured, right? And so the question is, are download sales going to collapse faster than people start actually saying, now, one of the problems or one of the issues is Spotify, to use a very obvious example, has such abundant access to crazy capital at crazy valuations. They're currently under no obligation to actually make money. So they have free services and the ad-supported services, which don't make microeconomic sense. You can't be profitable on that. They don't have to be right now. And so we have services that are out there that are a hell of a lot cheaper than $10. And as you start discounting things way, way down, or you get them into the realm of free, then obviously that model,
that's not going to work.
The bigger pie no longer exists.
It does feel like we're moving toward $5 a month.
It feels like that.
Is that doable? Is that...
Well, you know, at that point, it becomes a question of price elasticity, right?
Right.
Because we're no longer anywhere near the size of the music industry that we had in 1999, 2000. To get back to half that number would be probably a damn good thing in the minds of a lot of people. So yeah, it's a question of like, if you cut it to 5 and sales more than double,
right,
then you should
That's
probably
fine.
cut it to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they should be experimenting with price and figuring out where there's inflection.
I'm so glad you're here because actually this is a really interesting topic.
You should bring him on to triangulation.
Maybe I should. Actually, he's been on triangulation.
I've been on triangulation.
Yeah, you don't even remember.
Rob Reid is great. Year Zero is his most recent book. Another one. I started to ask you about the new novel.
Yeah, the new one. So just to catch people up on Year Zero, it's the tale of a vast alien civilization that is so into American pop music that they accidentally commit the biggest copyright infringement since the dawn of time. It's a little germane to the topic we're talking about. And in that book, there is this diabolical social media, social network called Flutter, P-H-L-U-T-T-R. And it's kind of like a running joke. But basically, Flutter is this startup that basically infiltrates your phone, infers everything about you, and then blabs it to the world. And so this new book, it's going to be called Emergent, and it will be the story of Flutter.
I like it.
So this imaginary, diabolical startup called Flutter. It will be sort of a Silicon Valley comedy.
Huh. I like it that the aliens
I'm a third of the way into
name themselves after rock stars.
Many of them do.
Yeah, Frampton and Carly. Thank you, Rob Reid. Great to have you. Year
Wonderful
Zero
to
is
be
on
here.
Amazon right now. Kindle, hardcover, paperback, and audiobook.
Audiobook read by John Hodgman.
Yeah.
No, that's a good call.
Great.
Yeah, he reads it magnificently.
Yeah. Highly recommend. That's from audible.com.
When are you going to do a book?
You always ask me that. I don't have
the
time.
voice, the voiceover. I'm talking about the voice, not the book.
I should write a book.
No, you should do
My
the
Years with John C. Dvorak.
Well, that's not going to be very entertaining.
You could be a great Audible reader.
Maybe when I retire.
It's not gonna
They offered me a book. It was like a biotech book because they thought I could read the words.
Did you? Oh, there's the problem.
And it's not enough money to really make a living at it.
No, you just want to do it for your fans.
Do it because I love it?
No,
That's
you're not
always
going to
a
love
mistake.
it. You're not going to love it.
I bought a book that you told me to get about like writing. Don't ever write for fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big mistake.
Oh, terrible.
But John does have fun, not only writing, but podcasting.
Podcasting, noagendashow.com.
You know, podcasting is going through a renaissance.
No, it's getting a lot of publicity for some unknown reason.
I know exactly why. Because some guy that everybody in the mainstream media knows who works for, used to work for This American Life, is now doing a podcast about doing podcasting.
Yeah.
And so suddenly all the mainstream media goes, oh, podcasting.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's still here.
After 20 years. When was the first podcast? It was our
10th anniversary is coming up. It was 2005, the podcast. 2004, I'm sorry, podcasting began. Adam's first podcast, The Daily Source Code, was, I think, September 2004.
That would be it.
That would be it, yeah.
Well,
you work with a guy.
I've heard of him.
Yeah.
No, we discuss it occasionally.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, John. It's great to see you. Devindra Hardawar, I feel bad because here we are eating red vines and
stale.
Oh, it's no
cracking
problem.
them.
Stale.
I'm good. I have a cat on my lap. It's all good.
Oh, man. I wish I had a cat in my lap.
Well, at least you said it that way.
It's wonderful.
Newly ensconced at Engadget, we don't know what his portfolio will be.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's a great portfolio. But congratulations on the new job. You can follow him on Twitter at Devindra, Devindra. And we love talking to you. Please come back.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
Great to be here. Yep.
Thank you to our live audience who laughed at all the right places and even some of the wrong places, even better. If you want to be in our live audience, just email tickets@twit.tv and we'll put a very uncomfortable seat, right? Yeah.
Get the padded ones from Costco.
Those are the padded ones from Costco.
I don't think so.
Oh, my God. The poor guys are going, oh. Anyway, we thank you. I'm sorry. Did the Broncos win? Yes, of course they did.
Yeah. Hello.
Oakland Raiders. Oh, wait a minute. No. I love the Oakland Raiders.
Tell it like it is.
Whoops. Are they moving to San Antonio?
Never know.
Okay, you never know. If you want to watch the show, we do it live Sunday afternoons, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 2400 midnight UTC. Is that right? 3 plus 12 is 15 plus 8 is 2300 UTC.
I guess.
Yeah, something like that. 2300 UTC. If you can't watch live, of course, we have on-demand audio and video, always available after the fact at twit.tv or wherever you find your podcast. Stitcher has them. Slacker has them. Podcast apps all over the world have them. We even have our own Twit apps, thanks to our great third-party developers. You can download those on iOS, Android, Windows Phone, even on Roku or Samsung. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can. Doing the Twit.